are on the Alberta Prairie, midway between Calgary and Edmonton. We are in Red Deer for this year's Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Saskatchewan and Amber Holland have done everything that they possibly can in a 7-7 tie. Yellow onto red, onto yellow for another win. Yep. Jennifer Jones.
Oh, no.
Don't forget, they got to stick the red. Now, this is... Oh, no! They ran too far. And Saskatchewan, Amber Holland will win the Scotties. A Scotties champion in Charlottetown, Amber Holland now wears the red and white here in Red Deer. It's a veteran field. They would like nothing more than to take that title from Team Canada. So with everyone's sights squarely on her, how will they respond? We'll start out finding today. Holland begins defense here in Red Deer. It's great to be back in Red Deer, Alberta for this year's Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Amber Holland, the defending champion, won her title a year ago in Charlottetown, and she will open against Newfoundland and Labrador, and Heather Strong is on this Saturday. We say hello, Canada, and welcome to our opening day coverage from this beautiful Centrium here in Red Deer. Interestingly enough, when you think back to the only other time Red Deer hosted the event in 2004, Colleen Jones was the winner, and she beat Marie-France Larouche of Quebec. And as we take a look at the field, you'll see that Marie-France Larouche is back again. Also back, Heather Nettowin, former champion Kathy King, 12 years since we've seen her. Kelly Scott, two-time winner. Jennifer Jones out of Manitoba, 4 wins. Rebecca Atkinson takes over the skipping duties in New Brunswick. And then, of course, Heather Strong. Also nice to see back Heather Smith-Dacey, 30 years ago. Tracy Horgan from Sudbury, the Idlewild. She is the only all-rookie team. Kim Dolan at the age of 53. LaRouche, Michelle Englot, first time out of Saskatchewan since 2008, and Carrie Galusha. As Linda and Russ join me, interesting, I cannot remember the last time a defending champion has been less favored, because most people still point at Jennifer Jones.
Well, it's understandable. One of the dominant skips in women's curling in the last 7 years. This team is number 3 on the Bonspiel circuit. They're already in the next curling trials. Now look at the Scotties record. Yeah, there's those 4 championships, but look at twice runner-up in a semifinalist the other time. The last 7 years, this has been the dominant skip in women's curling.
There's always questions about the defending champion, in this case Amber Holland, and the preparation, getting ready for the event. She won just $900, Russ, on the gold trail.
Yeah, but I don't think that concerns Amber. I think she's got everybody right where she wants them. That's the way they're thinking. There's really 2 seasons. There's the gold trail season. There's the pride season. She's known all along she's a bye to this event. Amber Holland's season starts today. They will be tough.
Going against Heather Strong, 10th appearance. Maybe it bodes well, Linda, because she did make the final of the Hot Shots about an hour ago before losing to Carrie Galusha.
Yeah, she's had some great shooting stats in the past. The last time she was here, actually, she was one of the top skips, but you can do well in hot shots as an individual. To win the Scotties, all 4 players have to be great. They have to have a hot team.
We're excited to be back in Red Deer, Alberta for this 31st edition of the Scotties. Coming up, Team Canada opens against Newfoundland and Labrador.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Sponge Towels, Paper Towels. Nothing absorbs like it. The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by World Financial Group. Proud to be a sponsor of the Season of Champions. Your dreams, our strategies. By Tim Hortons' new lattes made with premium espresso. And by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
It is a wonderful facility here in Westerner Park, the NMAX Centrium, built back in 1991, seats some 6,700. It's time now to take a look at the games on the ice. And on sheet A, the all-rookie team of Tracy Horgan from the Idlewild Sudbury opens against PEI's Kim Dolan, who admits this is going to be her last year. Marie-France LaRouche against BC's Kelly Scott. Sheet C, Alberta Heather Nedwin against Carrie Galusha, who has that new Ford Focus already in her pocket. In our featured game, Newfoundland Labrador against Team Canada. And one of the buys, Manitoba. Jennifer Jones will sit this one out. Time now to meet the teams, and it's brought to you by Ford. Drive one.
Hi, I'm Amber Holland, skip from Team Canada. Our lead is Heather Kalinchuk. Our second is Tammy Schneider. Our third is Kim Schneider, and we curl out of the Chrono Curling Club in Chrono, Saskatchewan.
Hi, I'm Heather Strong, skip of Team Newfoundland and Labrador. Our lead is Stephanie Korath. Our second is Jen Cunningham. Our third is Laura Strong, and we curl out of the Ballyhaley Golf and Country Club in St. John's.
Team Newfoundland and Labrador will be throwing the red stones, Team Canada the yellow, and in the draw to the button to win the hammer. That goes to the team from St. John's, and so to get us underway, this 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts from here in Red Deer, the Team Canada lead is Heather Kalinchuk.
Hey, there goes.
There is always a bit of an advantage to being Team Canada in this opening round. You know you have the experience. You've been here before. You've been successful before. And, of course, a little edge playing against Heather Strong's team because there is a rookie front end that may feel a few nerves looking around this building and playing in their first Scotties.
Yeah, I was talking to Jamie Korab earlier, and he's the coach of this young team from Newfoundland, and they the front end's bouncing. They really are. You know, Jennifer's never been here before. Her mom has, obviously, but it's so different here. Your eyes are wide open. Look at the crowd. Look at the noise, the TV lights, the faster ice, the different surface, the big curl. There is an adjustment period here, and good for Newfoundland to win the hammer. That could really help in this first end.
Good throw, Heather. 9.5. 9.5.
So as expected, and we may see this in the opening rounds for many teams, an open start to the end with the first rock coming in. They'll exchange hits, gives everybody a chance to settle down a little bit.
Yep. Yep. Hard. 9.
An open start. Is that the game plan, Linda?
Well, Newfoundland and Labrador, as I mentioned, had some good shooting stats, but gave up a lot of steals the last time here. And Laura Strong has moved up to third. She's played it before, but not for a while. She has to win that matchup. Team Canada, they've made some changes in their game. They're brushing. They have to trust those. And Amber Holland is the key. She was fantastic last year. She has tremendous mental skills. She has to have a chance to make the shots. The team have to leave her a good chance to score or save.
The game plan brought to you by World Financial Group. Your dreams, our strategy. The strategy here for Newfoundland and Labrador is to play this first wide open.
Yeah, they're loving it, Vic. That's what you want. We talked about it with the nerves, and there has to be a few. And you'd love to run this through and make a few hits, get the whole percentage up right off the bat, and feel good about yourself playing the second end.
Okay.
In 2009, Newfoundland and Labrador gave up 18 stolen points. That was actually the third worst in the event. And you think about their run, they were 5-6, 5 wins. 4 losses were by 1 point. If you just think you could limit some of those steals, you could have 4 more wins on the table and be in the playoffs for sure. So that's going to be a key for them. And as you say, with this open end, it'll give them a chance to read the ice. And that is also a key when we're talking about preventing steals.
It's all about winning those close games, isn't it? You always look back when you've missed the playoffs by a game and go, geez, we could have won that one, we could have won that one, we could have won that one. And we're going to definitely see that this week, I think, Linda. The parity is amazing. Yes, we're talking about Jennifer Jones. We're looking at the best team in Canada last year in Amber Holland. But there's a whole pile of teams that can win some games here. And I can see a whole pile of tiebreakers at the end of this thing on Friday.
You're out on the limb already.
I am.
First end, first game.
Where am I going?
How about you, Vic?
I'm sorry, I don't do limbs anymore. The older I get, I stay closer to the tree. We begin our coverage today, of course, at expands tomorrow with morning draws. Kathy Gauthier, Brian Mudryk will handle those for you, and Brian's with us. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Vic, you know, you talked off the top of the show about when was the last time that Team Canada going into a Scotties maybe not being the favorites. Truth be told, Amber Holland has not had one of her best seasons thus far. So I asked Amber just before today's game, are you the favorite? Her answer, not according to most. Then I asked her, are you the best team here? She said, one of them. Basically, Vic, read between the lines. This is a confident team, and they feel they have what it takes to make the playoffs this season. The one thing, though, they did admit, it's still a little bit weird wearing the red. They're used to that green color, but they're loving the red. And for now, they are Team Canada until somebody knocks them off.
You know, you think back, Ryan, thank you, that she has pretty broad shoulders, and we thought often, more than once, watching her at the Scotties or even at the Worlds, remember? She carried that team on those broad shoulders, Russ.
Amber Holland was the best female curler in the world last year, in my opinion. Unbelievable. She saved so many games. Not that the team didn't play well. You cannot get to that level, second in the world, without 4 good players. But she was especially good in some of the big games. And key shot after key shot after key shot. The wonderful shot to steal a point against Jennifer Jones to win the Canadian Championship comes to mind. But even in Denmark, many games were saved at the last end with some heroic shot making. And she's going to have to do it again.
Okay. 7. Looks like lots. Still more. Stay close just because, guys. No, we're still good. 8. We're back at 9. 9. I thought, no, still. No, leave it. I think. 8.
You think about a year prior to her win last year, Amber Holland was 6-5. It was a big change last year. It was a tremendous run. All 4 players actually played very well at the Scotties and, of course, did win it. And Amber, though, made the recovery at the Worlds. The team struggled. They won the silver. She made some big shots. They have won the Players' Championship before, and Amber does have credentials as a Canadian junior champ. And, Vic, we actually see that a lot in this field, former juniors coming into play.
As we play third stones here in this opening end, opening draw, the 2012 Scotties from Red Deer. Newfoundland and Labrador does have the last rock playing the red stones. This is the Canadian third, Kim Schneider.
We talk about Amber winning a lot of games single-handedly. I thought the difference between the last 2 years at the Scott Tournament of Hearts, the 6-5 record, and the winning was Kim Schneider. Kim was the most improved. She was actually last in the stats 2 years ago, and she was in the top of ices and played shot for shot with Caitlin Laws in the final. And Kim really gave her skipper Amber a chance.
And that's what makes this matchup interesting. Laura moving back to the third position after many years as a second, and she is playing against somebody who had a great year last year. And so you're going to have to make those big shots. And both Heather and Laura for many years were known as great hitters. But in this game, to win this championship, you do have to bring those quiet shots, especially at the third position to set up the ends. We're
blessed with such great ice at these national championships now. Great rocks, lots of movement. A good example here with the team of Dave Merklinger, our ice technician, and Eric Monfort, 2 of the best. Swingy rocks, you've got 4.5 feet of curl. If you cannot throw the appropriate weight at the right time, you have no chance anymore. It's not a hitter's game anymore. You have to be able to make shots with the finesse shots.
Skip stones here in this first, Amber Holland. Her win a year ago was the first for Saskatchewan since Sandra Schmerler back in 1997 for Saskatchewan.
Good sweet girls. Nice played, Amber. Shot, Amber. Great throw.
So Jamie Korab, who you know well, Russ, is the coach of this team, a gold medal winner along with you in Torino.
Yes.
It'll be interesting to see what he brings in terms of style of play. Maybe he brings a little bit more aggressiveness, Linda having suggested they're a little more defensive. Whether he brings some difference in terms of the strategy. I don't know. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. No question about it. And he'll bring a bit of humor, which only Jamie can provide. And I think that'll help you, especially with the rookies on the team. And he's been there. He's won an Olympic gold medal, maybe even a bigger event, the Canadian Trials. And he learned from one of the best in Brad Gushu. And I think they will play more aggressively later on in this game. But right now, I think they're going to run them up and down until they're comfortable.
Unable to hold the shooter, so It'll be left up to Amber Holland to put it in a place, make it a little more difficult. Newfoundland Labrador want to play.
I gave her the one.
Well, one of the challenges of reading ice on the first day is the ice is still changing a little bit. We watched practice yesterday, and in draws in particular, all the curl is late. We maybe had 4 feet of curl, edge of the 8 foot to the button, and of that, 2.5 feet was after it crossed the far hog line. And that means when you're now judging ice for hits, you're really struggling to figure out how much curl it will have. So that's why we do see more rollouts at the start of the week.
Yeah, there's been a couple already by Newfoundland, and that's why I think they wanted to play an open end. They missed a free draw, and they've had 2 hit and roll outs here. But even though they're curling maybe 60-65% this end, because of the open style, they're going to get away with it.
Curling great, right to the forefoot.
Nice chance for Amber here to get a feel, and for the brushers to judge a rock right to the button.
Nice weight, Amber. Good judge, you guys. What did she throw? Because I handed her the one.
So it'll be a long roll for the blank for Newfoundland Labrador, for Heather Strong.
Got like 13.6 on that, but I was thinking that we needed 13.7, so I'm not sure we'll have to. All right, girl. Firm weight here?
Yeah, I think we'll probably call you on it right away unless I'm out.
All right, you can do it.
Yep. Whoa.
With the big backswing.
Whoa.
Final stone here in this opening end.
Straight up, Jenny. Yeah, please.
Nice shot by Heather Strong from the Ballyhaley Country Club in St. John's. Newfoundland Labrador has the blank in this opening draw, opening day in Red Deer. You won't miss a thing, of course, with Canada's most comprehensive curling coverage, and we'll begin our updates on Sheet A. Ontario and Tracy Horgan out of the Idlewild Golf and Country Club in Sudbury. This is the all-rookie team against Prince Edward Island and Charlottetown's Kim Dolan at the age of 53, having won the PEI Championship, having the opportunity of a lifetime to play with her daughter Sinead. You see Sinead closest to the camera, and this is a draw looking for the inside flip down that stone, and it wouldn't come for her. Steal of 1 for Ontario and Tracy Horgan in the first end of play. British Columbia, Kelly Scott opens with a single against Marie-France LaRouche from Quebec City. In Alberta, Heather Nedouin, a former champion from the Saville Sports Centre in Edmonton, opens with a couple against Kerry Galusha from Yellowknife. Welcome back to Red Deer on this opening day of the 2012 Scotties. A blank in the first end of play means Newfoundland Labrador and Heather Strong continue to have the hammer. They have the last rock, playing the Redstones against the defending champions, Team Canada, and Amber Holland from the Chrono Curling Club in Chrono, Saskatchewan.
Let it curl up. Yep. A little bit, Jenny. Good. It's good. Oh, sorry, missed that.
Amber electing to throw the first one in again, Linda, and it's not wrong. But I thought they might throw a guard and try to put a few rocks in play, put a little pressure on the couple of the rookies here from Newfoundland.
Well, in particular, in the first end, we saw the rollouts, and we've already talked about how ice reading can be a little bit of a challenge, even for those open hits on the first day. I thought, too, Amber would put a little more pressure on Heather Strong. Heather's very happy to play hits, and we've seen that in previous years.
No, she's just that light. Okay, I was down. Yeah, just let it quiet. Get a good feel here.
Because we're 2 skips, I can say, and I probably won't get anyone
14,
disagreeing with me. Being a skip, though, is a hard thing, because on the situation where we talk about skipping, we often think about strategy, but in truth, someone like Amber in particular is a real manager of her team, and she is always assessing whether or not they seem ready with the weight, ready to make the more precise shots. And until Amber has that sense that the team is really ready to go, she probably won't push it either. And that is one thing I've admired about Amber and her, we talked about mental skills, but her skipping ability. She seems to have a really good intuition about when her team should be able to make the big shots.
No question about it. We saw that last year, Vic. They played a lot of defensive games early in the week, and then they picked their spots, like you say. And there's certain teams you maybe feel better playing against too, and you will change your strategy up depending on ice and opponent.
Jennifer Cunningham's stone, the throwing second for Newfoundland Labrador, just sliding out of the rings at the back. It's still in play. This is Team Canada's second. This is Tammy Schneider.
You're going to over curl.
Okay.
Just go T-line.
Okay. A little deeper.
Playing right now, is she?
She was trying to play the freeze, Vic, and this one's over curling, and that's why they stopped brushing.
Your turn now.
We expect as this game progresses, there's a little more heat in the building as people have come in now. The curl will increase. There will be those times where it will go up and down a little bit. And also the speed will increase a bit. So they'll have to keep their eye on it.
Dave Merklinger's picked the Olympic rocks here from the 2010 Olympics in Vancouver. Blue hone inserts and a common green outside shell. The common green's a much softer granite and allows you to get a little more kick, a little more roll, and it lasts a lot longer. The striking bands would last a lot longer, whereas the blue hone inserts are about the toughest granite you can buy, and gives you lots of speed, and maybe 4.5 feet of curl, maybe a little less here than you'd see at a Briar, but still plenty of curl to bury rocks.
There is Dave Merklinger, one of the very best. These stones, in fact, Russ, you'll remember last week at the M&M Canadian Meat Shops Juniors, these stones were supposed to have been used there too, but because of the timeline and they couldn't ship them in time to get them out here, they just came directly here.
Well, the plane was full with your makeup, Vic. You couldn't get the rocks on.
Oh, it starts, does it? Hey. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we'll just tuck that away a little later.
Glad I didn't say that.
Thank you very much.
I'm sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Okay, 7.
Laura Strong.
And this is one of those key moments we've talked about. I know it's early in the event, but for Laura to move to the third position, she needs to be able to make this kind of shot. You get the mistake for Amber Holland. There's the rollout. There's 2 rocks. You can freeze to either one of them and make Amber's life difficult. You have to give the brushers the weight.
And guess what? She's just going to find the hole. Now, I mean, it's still a lot of junk at the back. Things could happen, and there's jam possibilities.
It certainly is. Both those, the red and yellow together there, if you get this in the right spot, it'd be almost impossible to remove it. As long as they don't bump them. It's a delicate little shot for Kim, because you don't want to bump it 3 or 4 inches, and it's easy to remove, but you want to get down as close as you can to the freeze position.
Line's a little tight. Line's tight. Just a 5.
We find in the arenas year after year after year, this is one of the fastest spots in the building. Inside out, right off the center line. As it curls, it just seems to glide forever.
We're all there. Go to the back ones.
Great line, just don't bump it. Oh, very nice.
What was that?
Kim Schneider.
90. Still losing handle. A little bit. It's still losing handle. A little bit.
They talk about it with losing handle. With these stones, with the surface they have on the running surface, you have to have a lot of rotation, or you will, especially at the end, feel like it's almost got no turn left on it. With that late curl, you have to give it enough turn with your hand. Many people think it's picking, but it may be just rotation.
Absolutely. It just slows right down hog line in, and it can go the other way on you if you don't have enough rotation.
Laura Strong, as we have something going now here in this second end of play after the blank in 1.
Okay, good job.
Newfoundland and Labrador with the last rock, sitting 1.
Tremendous curl there. The broom was virtually on the center line, so you can see if that went a little deeper, it'd nearly be 6 feet of curl, 5 for sure, and that's a nice amount of movement for this championship.
The unfortunate part for Laura is that it over-curled the spot, and that gives Amber an easier chance to remove it and roll towards the center and sit 2.
Amber's taking quite a bit of ice here. Definitely curls with draw weight, but this is one of those finesse shots that you touched on earlier. You have to have this in your arsenal. You can't throw normal weight at everything.
Amber Holland in her first. Boyd the jam at the back does, and spins it to the tee line, edge of the 8 to sit 2.
Good throw. That even came down a little bit. Yeah, just a little tackier out there.
A little stickier out there, Amber saying. A little bit of pebble, that's all that means. They wouldn't have thrown rocks that far over in practice. So they're very aware. She had big rotation on that, Linda, which is what you want to see this early in the game.
Got a nice read on that, and that's something they'll put in the bank for later.
Nose or a slight bit across.
All right.
There is a double opportunity here, just a hair off center.
Normal. 9.5.
Yep, hurry! Hard, really hard! Really hard! Harder! Hard for a piece! Hurry! Hurry!
Stephanie Korab, Jennifer Cunningham on the brush. Oh boy, oh boy. Lost it, maybe got it started. Heather Strong making a 10th appearance, winning over a former Newfoundland Labrador champion in Laura Phillips in their provincial final, and she stole 6 straight points on the way to that 9-3 win.
Little less rotation here, Beck. I don't think they didn't yell early because I think she was right on the broom, Heather, but that's what we talked about with the fresh pebble, the sharp rocks. I think Newfoundland was fooled by Amber's first one. Amber had big rotation, all kinds of rotation. That allowed the rock to run that much straighter, as much as maybe 5-6 inches, and Heather was fooled, and that's a big mistake.
Line's fine. Just to my room. Not too deep. 5. Line's not great. 4. 8. Just not too deep. Great. My room's great.
So sitting 2. And final stone for Amber Holland here in this second.
I think that was a different spot on the ice. They were hoping to sit that a little more in front of shot stone. And I think they thought it was going to go further and not curl as much. So a little bit surprised on that one, but does force a different kind of shot from Heather here.
Get a bite for it.
Yeah. So you gave you about 14? 13-9? 13-9, yeah. Great throw. Yeah. I think if we leave them late.
You know when you have backing.
Yeah. You can do it, Heather.
Same draw we had for Hammer.
Exactly.
So it's a draw against 3 for Newfoundland Labradors, Heather Strong. Little bite of the blue will give her the single point.
Okay.
But those early misses at the back, rocks a little too long, have led to this. And then her own miss with her first. And there you see the front end backing right off. Stephanie Korab on the left, Jennifer Cunningham. And she needs to stay in the 4-foot. And she'll use the backing and sit there for the single, a nervous single for Newfoundland Labrador. And not a very happy Newfoundland Labrador and Heather Strong. Want to win a 2-year lease on a 2012 Ford Focus S? You can log on to fordhotshots.curling.ca and test your online curling skills. And for every participant at this year's Scotties, they also had a chance to win a lease on this 2012 Ford Focus Titanium by testing their on-ice curling skills. The final, a battle of skips. Newfoundland's Heather Strong against Northwest Territories Yukon's Carrie Galusha. And thanks to shots like this, the hit and stick right to the button, Galusha is your winner, winning a 2-year lease on a 2012 Ford Focus Titanium. Don't forget to log on to fordhotshots.curling.ca for your chance to win. And just like Carrie Galusha, you too could drive away in a brand new Ford. Well, she was a hot shot winner, Carrie Galusha. That's where we'll go right now after Alberta. And Heather Nettowin out of the Saville Sports Centre in Edmonton scored 2 in the first. Galusha now has a chance to get 3 here and take the lead. Quiet tap back out of the Yellowknife Curling Club with Megan Cormier and Shona Barber, the front end. Sharon Cormier calling line. And how's that for a hot shot? 3, Newfoundland. And Labradors are feature as the Northwest Territories takes the lead. Over on sheet A, Ontario with the 1-0 lead on PEI. And that Redstone you see sitting top edge of the 4, Russ, that just put there by Ontario's Tracy Horgan. Thought maybe you could just chip that out for a possible 3. Instead, Kim Dolan has elected to draw for a possible 2.
Yeah, the veteran that she is, and there was danger to trying to hit. You could pick out your own, give up a steal. You'd be down 2-0. So Kim said, let's just play the draw. Less risk. Veteran move. Perfect speed here. They're on off it all the way. Almost overbrushed it here at the last second. It gets there pretty easily.
Sinead Dolan, Nancy Cameron. Great judgment. That's 2 for Prince Edward Island and a 2-1 lead over Ontario. And on sheet B, it remains 1-0. British Columbia and Kelly Scott with hammer, scoring 1. Quebec's Marie-France LaRouche blanking the second to maintain control of the last rock as we welcome you back to the NMAX Centrium and our featured game here on this opening day, opening draw. Newfoundland and Labrador pick up the single. So Team Canada, the defending champions, Amber Holland from Crono, Saskatchewan, will have the last rock here in 3, playing the Yellowstone.
Kind of a strange start to this end. They exchanged hits, and then Amber decided after the first hit with her Leeds Rock on her second Leeds Rock to throw the corner guard. It slid in, and that took away the advantage of playing the corner guard. And there you just saw the nice roll by Newfoundland and Labrador to sit 2, one in front of the other.
Those are simple mistakes, and you don't really, it doesn't look like a major mistake. Your corner guard comes into the rings, but you're only going to get so many opportunities to score 2 points. It's the first time Amber's had hammer, and you want to put some pressure on this young Newfoundland team, and that's the way to do it. And it looks like they could run through another end. And as time goes by, Newfoundland's up 1-0. They're going to believe they can beat this great team from Saskatchewan, and it gives Amber less and less chances.
Jennifer Cunningham.
Okay.
So here's the chance that hit stays outside the rings. That's a corner guard, even though it is the opposition color. It's very usable for Amber. After Tammy made the nice double, she can play the come around.
Line's good. 6. Okay, get a room. No, you're good. All 5. Line drop back. All you. We're 7, 8.
Here it goes, starting to curl. I'd like it on the front half, not the back half.
Okay, I went pretty far against her. Yeah. Okay, Tam.
You can see the late curl, but unfortunately it is very deep, and that gives Heather a chance to play the freeze. One of the things that we do have to keep an eye on with Laura and Heather Strong is that they are left-handers, so they are playing that opposite turn to Kim and to Amber. And I think sometimes with their in-turns, Laura and Heather do get it started a little bit and get a lot more curl, and with a little less rotation, that's going to be a difficult thing to control. So we'll keep an eye on that.
And less rotation, as you mentioned, means more curl, and look what's happening here. That curled a lot more than Tammy's.
We're going now. They're overlapped a little bit. You have one buried, and let's go again, says Amber Holland.
Whatever you like. I think I like this. I don't mind there, yeah.
Now this where skipping comes back to making choices, and one of the things you factor in is your opposition. Amber knows Heather Strong wants to play hits, and so you could try and tuck around, but if you left a double, you'd leave Heather a chance to play her strength. So what they're trying to do here is draw open with Kim, hopefully deep enough that there's no hit and roll or double, and then that means that Heather will be wasting some shots over on the side.
We're okay. We're okay. You're good now. Going now.
But wasn't her? Did I just miss it? But her first indication was maybe to go around.
Yeah, I think she even asked down the ice what the team thought.
The come around's not wrong, but I like what Linda's saying. That draws the play away. If you go around and you come deep, Heather Strong freezes the two yellow behind the tee line. That takes away the two-end possibility. This way, the two-ender's wide open, and it's a low-risk situation for Amber.
Same thing. Same thing, Kim. Same thing, hey? Can you give me a bit more?
Right back in the same spot, ideally behind the tee line. Anything in front will allow the Newfoundland team to roll to the center, or better still, make the double.
I'm a bit wider, too. Yeah. 7 on our own. Get out there, Tammy. You need to get out there. All on our own. No. 7. We're okay. 8. No. No. Easy. That's good. Whoa. Good. Good. Good judge. I just gave it a little.
Great judging by Tammy and Heather, and they, as we all know, they went to the Saville Centre in Edmonton for a bit of a practice, and they really focused on their brushing and the judgment. And you look at the best teams in the world, the ones that win consistently, their front ends are so good at judging now.
It just goes, right?
Well, wait. That's normal. Okay.
And the ice has quickened up. Remember, the first time we heard numbers hog to hog of 13.6, 13.7. Now we're talking about 14 seconds hog to hog, so they're keeping a good eye on the changing conditions.
This one's in a wonderful spot, because to think it out, if Heather Strong hits this dead on, which is what she's going to attempt to do, Amber will still be shot rock. She might play the freeze on this rock and try to score 3.
All right. Is that weight good? The weight was perfect.
First rock in that path. It's mine. Don't overthink it. Whatever. No biggie.
They're questioning what happened to one of Laura's shots. And interesting comment from Heather. She's trying not to get her to focus on it, just to park it. You want to know that information in order to call the ice, but you don't want the player to think negatively about what they did.
And I think Laura was asking for some input, because it could be the rock, and you can't overthink that, because if it is a rock that they haven't identified in practice, that can really, if they don't figure it out in a hurry, they can miss a lot of shots with it.
Yep. Really hard now. It's my room. Okay. It's my room. Oh. Get out there a little.
So staying with your idea here, Linda, to play to the open side, to sit 2, Team Canada and Amber Holland. You have the last rock here in this third end of play.
A nice draw weight to position the rocks exactly where they wanted them, even across the house, wide enough that it's hard to get any kind of roll. Very nicely done by Kim and Amber.
The only other option for Heather Strong here would be to play the freeze. If you make the freeze properly, you can force Team Canada to a single or possibly a steal. But what if? You have to have running through your head. If you don't make that shot perfect, you tick the guard, you come deep, you give up 3.
No, same thing. Good throw.
So it'll be a hit for 2 for Team Canada here in the third.
She'll just play the same draw, actually, Vic. That one is not shot stone. It's out at the edge of the house, so nice for Amber. She's actually had lots of chances early in this game to play draws, and she's got seems a very good feel for what's happening out there.
At the opening of Amber having the chance to curl as well as she can. You can't have really high degree of difficulty shots and perform no matter who you are, but so far they've been low risk shots, and they're very makeable for Amber. Could draw to the button here. It's a much bigger landing area.
You gotta
The fact
see,
that Amber's just thrown this shot, she's comfortable with this spot.
not curling as much.
I think they're a little concerned about the draw the previous end where they
Turn
went
down if you're
wide
close.
side to the middle, and it seemed to fool them.
You're close. You're good. Curling lots now.
How'd it girl?
Nice throw.
Nice throw indeed for two. Canada draws for a couple. They take the lead 2-1 over Newfoundland Labrador here in Red Deer. Let's continue our updates and check back with Alberta against the Northwest Territories Yukon. That 3 on the board. We showed you that lovely touch by Carrie Galusha from Yellowknife to score her 3. Now, final stone for Alberta's Heather Nedohin in 3. Out of the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton in her first appearance in 12 years, the former Canadian champion, former Canadian junior champion who won that championship right here in Red Deer back in '96, and that will give her 2 to retake the lead 4-3 over Northwest Territories Yukon. BC scored 1 with the last rock, been very wide open. British Columbia, Kelly Scott against Quebec, and Marie-France LaRouche out of Quebec City. Back with you at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. 2 teams that have the bye off this afternoon. Heather Smith-Dacey, 3rd a year ago out of Halifax against Michelle Englot, whose last appearance was 2008. That's when we join you again tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, let's go over to Sheet A. Ontario against Prince Edward Island. PEI got 2 in the second to take a 2-1 lead, and it appears from that PEI is sitting the 1 just back of the button. Quiet tap for 2.
Yeah, the Ontario were in trouble the whole end. Really made a nice come around with their first one, and the freeze attempt by PI and Kim Dolan was just a foot heavy, and chance for 2 here, but this has to curl in a hurry.
Tracy Horgan and her all-rookie team, and she'll hang around on the edge of the 4-foot for 2. Horgan from the Idlewild Golf and Country Club in Sudbury with a lead over Kim Dolan from Charlottetown. Our featured game in this opening draw is on the other side of the Centrium on Sheet D. Team Canada with a very nice deuce. Set up well, Linda, to take a 2-1 lead. Newfoundland and Labrador now with the last rock here in 4 playing the Redstone.
We'll give lots of credit to the Newfoundland and Labrador lead. Stephanie Korab is sitting at 100% right now. Amber Holland put the 1 on the button. There was a corner guard that went up by Newfoundland and Labrador. Amber put the guard back at center, and you just saw a beautiful freeze played by Stephanie. So a nice setup now for Newfoundland and Labrador, who have the hammer.
No, you're taking.
Yep, stay on it. Yep, stay on it. I got this.
Okay, Tammy. Sorry, Amber.
You can still get around those. It's a little light, hey?
Yeah.
95.
It's good. Okay, I'll go back.
Not all bad for Team Canada here. They got 2 rocks in a really nice position out in the front. They can use those at any time, but that frozen rock is problematic.
Maybe that's
7.
Okay.
Oh, 7.
I think it's fresh.
What do you think? Line's good, room.
6, 7.
7. Well, if you can.
5.
Yep. Go if you have to. Yep.
Yep. Losing handle.
This is
Just
Jennifer
4.
Cunningham.
Yep.
Just 3.
Hard. Losing handle.
And there is the curl we're talking about, how late it comes. And once it breaks, it is really hard to control. And that one also died very quickly on them.
And you heard the Newfoundland front end say losing handle, losing handle. That's exactly where they're getting caught. They do not play in Newfoundland on ice this swingy very, very often. Unless you're traveling around the country, it's important to get out and play with these type of rocks, because that lack of rotation is costing him here early.
Let's go. You got it, Tam.
Absolutely dead on. I'll do the trick here.
Whoa! Yep!
Tammy Schneider.
Whoa! Girl, get up.
Run it right back.
That's fine.
Ooh, and she'll jam it, leaving it sitting right there. But does get rid of the backing.
Shoot.
Yeah.
With Tammy calling low on this, Amber thought it would move up, but big weight, lots of rotation. It did not. And that's the difference between draws that really go sideways as they're dying, and then this big weight hit is much straighter.
It's hard to explain it on television, but these rocks have a very rough surface, so as they slow down as pertaining to draw weight, they'll curl like crazy. We've seen 5 feet of curl already. You up the weight with these blue hone inserts, and they just track. They just run. They don't curl that much at all. So you have to be very aware of what weight's been thrown by the thrower.
Sit. Sit, sit, sit. Nice job, Jen.
To sit 2.
Let's go, Kim.
Newfoundland Labrador with the last
Hey,
rock.
Peel.
Here in 4.
Let's go, you got it.
Peel, she said?
Yep. Let's go.
A little surprised with peel weight here, Lindy. You could throw hack, you could throw board, you could tap it in with draw weight and eliminate at least one of them. Peel's not wrong. Maybe it's a little easier to run it straight back with peel weight, but if you miss, Kim misses this, she's not only going to miss the peel, but she's going to roll out of the way and not have a raise.
That's fine, Kim.
Does that work?
Plan B on the side one. We will watch the choices of weights, and it's always interesting as we come to these events in the big arenas. Sometimes you can take the curl out of the equation by playing the up weight with the peel. It's a little easier to read. I don't think today that's the case. I think they're still struggling a bit with the new ice. And then often the hardest shot is the tap weight, the hack weight, because you're not sure how much it will grab at the end.
Okay.
3, 6,
5.
Laura Strong.
Good. 5, 6.
5's all we want.
6.
Where?
We gotta go bed, eh?
No.
Where? 5. 3. 4. Jenny, 3. 4. 3. 3's fine. 3's fine.
Okay, we can go a little more. Just inside this yellow. Whoa, you're there. Okay.
Okay.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Sorry, weird spot, Heather. My bad. Nice weight, Laura.
Just inside the yellow to take away the run back, possibly?
Yeah, that was key to hide that just a little bit so there isn't that straight double. And that forces Kim to a tougher shot. She has to play the freeze here. That's a great position for that Newfoundland rock at the top of the 12.
Bit of line. Line's good. 4. Line's pretty good. 5. Hard then. Line's great on you.
Well, you mentioned earlier this team spending
Line's great.
some time at the National Training Center and working on their brushing. Amber said in pre-tournament interviews that she thinks what they've done will make a difference. The brushing, particularly the front end, Heather Kalinchuk, Tammy Schneider, at some point in time will go, wow, there's the difference.
Oh, I agree, absolutely agree, and it's so important. And 10, 15 years ago with the different surfaces, it was all about the thrower. You had to throw it within a couple of feet. You weren't making it. Now you can drag a rock, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 feet, depending on who it is and what surface. So that particular shot there could have been ruined by the front end. Kim threw that perfect. You brushed that earlier, brush it enough that it bounces off, and then it's a hit and roll berry for Newfoundland. Newfoundland sitting 2 berry, all because they judged that properly.
3. Just clean. 2.
Just a 2.
Losing line.
No.
Just clean. Clean it.
No.
So what's
How do you want
happened
to?
here is
No,
with that
no,
nice
nothing.
freeze, Heather is just trying to protect the one that is on the button.
Yeah, that's 2.5. Good. Curling. All right.
That could have been quite a bit over or away from center line and done a better job.
Yeah, I guess the struggles you don't make it.
Didn't protect anything.
Not with the curl, Vic, and a little quiet tap, you can get that yellow one to move up.
Yeah.
Maybe leave yourself sitting 3.
Freeze or the
if you're
tap,
Team
but-
Canada.
I think she's just going to try a really quiet tap, just push it to be shot,
T-line
perhaps.
and let them, yeah. That's the same ice as you, and I think that's close.
Let's go. You've got it.
Just gets my back ball.
Took a lot of ice.
I think we can play the tap. We move it a rock width or a
Oh,
shot.
yeah, you got half. What kind of weight are you thinking?
Just like T-line back 4. Like, you don't need to move it a ton.
Okay.
Try to get as much to the nose, because it can't bounce off, right?
Is this a hair less than Kim had for
No,
ice?
same.
Same. Okay.
So,
The way you look at this, it's a draw for Amber, and it's the brushers that make the tap.
Right. And you try to make that tap out of your hand, and you bounce off, as Amber said. You then roll out in the open. That allows Newfoundland to roll back and get that buried rock. So even if Amber's light here, she's not sad. So she's going to throw it as light as she can and give it to the brushers to make this thing.
Yep, hard, Landon. Hard.
We gotta go. Hard.
Amber Holland and her first skip stone now. It'll light out of her hand.
Okay.
And it'll spin and cover now the shot stone.
Just kicked light on you? Well, yeah, we just had T-line, that's all. Like sweep T-line. Yeah. Okay, just a hair light.
Not all bad, and some mistakes are great mistakes. This rock is a dangerous, dangerous rock for Newfoundland. Obviously, with Amber's last one, she can run it in here and create all kinds of problems. Possibly three buried. So Newfoundland would love to get in there, but how did they get there? They really can't do much about it. So I think they're going to take away Amber's yellow rays.
It's not easy, but even if you jostle them.
Okay, let's give her a go.
If you corner, freeze that.
Corner freeze it all, right? Yep.
So is that what we'll go for first?
Yep.
This enough?
Should be.
So the sisters working it out.
For maybe guarding the
Laura
rays.
holding the brush.
That yellow there?
Heather.
Yeah, I think so, okay.
Newfoundland and Labrador with last rock.
Yeah, I think they were guarding the hole, I think, Linda. And but now they're trying to guard both, which is a better option.
Yep.
There is an intern hole for Amber to hit her own rock frozen on the shot rock, but that raise is also dangerous, as we pointed out. Tough to guard them both, though.
It is. It's really hard, and often when you're trying to do the double duty, you end up with nothing.
Line's good. Keep it
Very
there.
precise
Line's
shot
gonna wear.
required.
Oh, it's going to overcurl.
Okay, just a two. Low line.
Right to here.
Low line. It's just a two.
Hardest shot in the sport nowadays with this big curl. You underthrow it over
Can you
curls.
bounce? No.
No.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, two would have been, it would have stopped, kept curling.
The hole there?
Okay.
No
Let's go,
question. It's not a gimme. We've seen Amber make a few of these last year.
Just a little point. This is a rookie front end for Newfoundland and Labrador, as we see the front end for Amber's team looking at the hole, and they actually didn't understand, I think, the speed of that guard and where it would land, and Heather was just trying to talk to them about it.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
can roll my shooter as far as I can. It's pretty tough for her.
Yeah.
Because even if I roll my shooter out.
Yeah. I like it. 9?
I think so, hey?
I think so, to negotiate the hole, yeah. Let's go, Amber.
It's a little bit tight.
Think backwards, because of Amber's good mistake, which was this rock here, it forced Newfoundland to try to guard it. The guard over curl leaves this lane that Amber can get through. Here, what she'd love to do is roll away, because if she stays right there, it makes it easier. So just rolling maybe even right out, I don't know how Newfoundland scores. There's really no red raises there at all, Linda.
That's quite a clutter. You could certainly cut it down by using a guard, but I don't see how you get to the button.
Right now, Newfoundland Labrador is sitting the one. Final stone for Team Canada, Amber Holland. Kalinchuk, Schneider trying to find the hole. There, no, will catch the stone top 12.
That's just quiet still.
Well, and I was over the top on that. It feels like there's something under it every time I come out.
Well, then don't throw it.
Yeah, that's whatever. It's fine. I just have to clean it better. Tried to give it a spin because I felt like there was something under it.
Is it the ice? Is it the stone? Something is bothering Amber with that particular rock.
And the front end make a good point. If you're feeling it, then change the stone.
Get a good read.
Absolutely. Well, why have that in the back of your head?
So no shot for Heather.
So Newfoundland Labrador throwing this one away will take their single point.
All right. Good job.
And thankfully so, after the miss by Holland. And through 4, we're tied 2-2. It's the home of the Red Deer Rebels of the Western Hockey League, the NMAX Centurion. And it's the home this week for the 2012 Scotties 31st edition. We're tied at 2. Our feature game, Newfoundland Labrador against Team Canada. Over on the left-hand side, Sheet A, it's Ontario against Prince Edward Island, and 3-2. Ontario leading. Looks like this could be a hit for 2. That yellow stone over there on the far left-hand side, sitting in the 12-foot. Final stone on the way for Kim Dolan, making a 9th Scotties appearance at the age of 53. Last year, of course, she was the chairperson of the Scotties host committee in Charlottetown and gets the inside role, and now having that look, and yes, it is the Deuce, for a 4-3 lead, Prince Edward Island, over the Ontario team, skipped by Tracy Horgan from Sudbury. Newfoundland Labrador got their single in 4. So here in the 5th, Team Canada, the defending champions, Amber Holland playing the Yellowstones, have the last draw.
If you look at the scoreboard, Newfoundland and Labrador have scored 2 singles and Amber Holland a deuce. And you think, well, that's great. Amber Holland has a little bit of an advantage. She now has the hammer. But you think about the way this game has progressed and the fact that both Laura and Heather Strong are struggling. And they've had some really difficult situations, including the last end where they escaped. I think you can fairly say with a point. You would say the way this game has gone so far strongly favors the strong team.
Oh, very nice.
They should be thankful at this point.
They should be thankful, I think. You know, the rookies may be a little bit shaky, but actually the back end, the 2 strongs are the ones that have struggled.
Well, that lady there listening is Kathy Cunningham. Yes, she was a runner-up. And Kitchener at the Scotties, losing the final that year. Colleen Jones, and this is her daughter, Jennifer Cunningham, at the age of 23, former provincial junior champion. This is her Scotties debut. Rub in front and it'll spin and go through.
Oh, that was dead buried if it gets by.
Amber mentioned in the last end, as we see Kathy see that one just rub.
Yeah, I don't know if it's tougher to play or tougher to watch.
Well, that tells you right there, Vic.
But all it takes is a little turn of the hand, and Kathy knows she was a great player on this kind of ice. If you get that rock a little inside, Amber did it last end. There, Jennifer did it a little bit, a tiny bit with the hand, and it's a goner.
No, you got room then. Line only. No, if you're heavy. We're 2 are yellow. Whoa, stay close. It's coming down.
I'd love to keep this in front of the red opponent.
Yep, Dan. Hard. Whoa.
And a little rub and roll, and it will spin. Sitting 2 for the moment, Team Canada. Back of the button.
No, but they're sitting in double territory, and that red one got rubbed in behind cover even better.
So a nice chance now for Jennifer Cunningham.
Oh. Yep. Straight over.
Makes amends, makes the double, and Newfoundland Labrador without last rock, sitting 2.
A little surprised they didn't brush that. The double was made all the way, and they could have pounded that over and rolled a little farther away, and now there's a great opportunity for Tammy to make the double here. Well thrown stone, but obviously could have swept that quite a bit sooner. Still makes the double. A chance to come right back with another one.
That's better.
I'm sure Mom will be happy.
Yeah, Mom and Dad. Jeff's here too. Jeff, a former provincial champion, skipped his own team for the days, of course, when he was playing with Mark Noseworthy, of course.
Red, Kim.
Great shot.
Well, let's find out how Mom is doing. Kathy is with Brian.
Vic, thank you very much. Kathy, incredible career when it came to you. 14 appearances at the Scotties. You made a final once as well. How special is it, though, here now to be a spectator and watching your daughter play?
Oh, it's incomparable. It really is. When they won the provincials, I said to her that it was just like winning it myself all over again. It was beautiful, I have to say.
And I understand your other daughter having some success recently as well.
Yes, yep. She was at the juniors last week in Napanee, Ontario, and she got herself a couple of fair play and sportsmanship awards. It was nice, really nice.
So it's a busy week for the family because you and your husband now got to fly home for your own playdowns.
Yes, we do. We leave here at Monday morning at 7 a.m. to fly to Deer Lake so we can play in the seniors in Newfoundland on Tuesday.
Getting your air miles. Kathy, thank you so much, and best of luck to all of your family this week.
Thanks very much.
Vic?
Well, you see Jeff sitting in front. Jeff has been doing a lot of coaching, and we saw Jeff in Napanee last weekend. We do wish them all the best in their senior playdowns. Just says we're all getting older is what it says.
Even if you're a little bit higher, and then we can play the hit on the back one later. What did you just top 8?
You see it so often, Linda Russ,
Not awful.
how the Cunningham family is one that it's dedicated itself to the game. The Dolan family over on Sheet A, it's a recurring theme in the sport.
Well, and the nice thing about the families we're talking about, they've made such a huge contribution to the sport. Kim Dolan is a chairperson for Scotties. Jeff and Kathy involved in coaching and developing their children in the sport. It's just wonderful to see.
Gotta be in bad. Look out, guys.
That was a very nice shot by Laura Strong for the Newfoundland and Labrador team, and that's why Amber's trying to figure out where to position a rock that she can then use to move that red one out.
They actually lost that a little bit. Would love to have a bit of an angle on that yellow raise to pass the top red rock past their own rock. Still a very good throw.
Head over curled. That shot me. Sit to it.
That's quite a row of stones. Playing the come arounds now and trying to get the right angles.
Okay. Okay, it's last.
Nice.
5. 5 is good. Line's nice.
Laura Strong making a 7th appearance compared to her sister, Heather, who is in her 10th appearance at the Scotties.
Hard line.
3. Eat it.
Yep. Don't touch the
Keep
red.
it coming.
Yep. Little bounce.
Good call.
Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Good.
Sorry.
Fine. Just a little lighter, I think.
Yeah.
Laura and Heather. And, of course, on the other side, you've got Tammy and Kim. So we've got the Strong sisters, the Schneider sisters. In fact, there are several sister combinations throughout this event.
Line's great. Close line. Bit of room. Close line. Line's good. Line only 7. Line's good. Line's great. We gotta go.
Getting very crowded in that center line area, and harder for Amber to get a setup shot in position.
Like to bounce off that yellow just a hair. Whoa. And now they've got a shot at getting the yellow onto the red.
Good throw. Great way. Just warping. That's right, Kim. Still need to get more. Yeah, they're just warping after they get going. I might have been a hair tight on you.
No, I thought you threw it good.
Yeah.
Only way they...
Just a guard, guys.
Where?
About even with the other reds. Just so she can't play the chip on the tap on the one she just put there.
Is the from overhead and from looking at this
Even with the
angle
reds,
here,
it's a
is
little
there
bit
not
deeper than
a double, yellow double available to Newfoundland Labrador, do they? Or not?
No, I don't think so, Vic. I think it's hidden. They'd love to. You could play the run back double, but that would be very dangerous.
Okay.
Yeah, I just can't quite see enough of that. And by hitting the top yellow one that was just thrown by Kim, you could actually hit it thin enough to take out your own. And that's what they're trying to protect here, is protect that thin slash for Team Canada. Now, every guard so far is over curled for Newfoundland here. This one looks a lot better.
Yeah, that's good. Whoa.
Pretty shot. Even.
Like, did she play that right now all ever, you think? Will she? Yeah, she may.
What angle?
If she noses the red now, puts the outside of her yellow, puts our red out.
You might rub off the back though and bounce. So I
think I can get past tight to that. And it'd be close.
It would be close, yeah.
You play it tight. Like you got by the guard by that much and got
You
to there.
could even just play to here.
Yeah. I
But you
think
don't
that's
wanna
the
bounce
call.
off the back.
Well, and even if I tick that, that's
Yeah, we'll have something to use.
T-line.
I like it.
You only need to move that half a rod.
Yeah.
You know, when you listen to them talk,
That's out further than me.
Just a hair, yeah.
that's why you love curling ice and ice that curls. Let's put it that way. Because that shot to them is available now. The fact that they could wrap it around tight, still have enough to push it back.
Exactly. There's way more options with the big swing, especially this late finish, and they've identified it too. Kim came down and said, boy, it breaks hard from the hog line in. So this rock is actually over-buried by 10, 12 inches, but Amber still thinks she can get around it, curl enough to tick her own. Very difficult shot, but as you say, Vec, it's all because of the ice. You can actually make some of these shots. That has to over-curl once it gets by, with a wee bit of weight too, Linda, to tap it a bit.
That's one of the hard parts, and then this is a slightly different path because of the last guard being played. She's out a little further, and they have to wonder where the break will occur in this spot.
And Kalinchuk on the right, Schneider on the left have done nothing so far. Well by the guard and well by the stone they were hoping to tap up.
Okay. Sorry, just gave you a bit too much.
But I'd rather leave with a different shot than the same one.
Yeah, there you go. I gave you a little too much,
Like
so they were guessing. Linda.
It was a guess, and Amber had a great start to the
I've been
game,
there,
playing 4 draws, all perfect. And since then, she struggled both with release and weight. So something going on out there for her.
Yeah, that was 6-7 feet heavy out of her hand, not counting the advantage of having the brushing. So that was definitely an overthrow.
Final stone for Heather Strong out of Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay, chill. Line's a little tight.
Okay, then we'll go a little bit. Go for
Easy.
three. Deeper than the other ones, I
Okay,
think.
whoa then.
We're a little outside.
Whoa. Higher the better.
Yeah, it's deep. 4, almost. No, it's coming down.
Not here.
Whoa.
No, it's high. It's 3.
I want to set something up here now. You might want to brush this to get it partially buried, because Amber might be able to use this rock.
Okay. That's good.
Don't look like it curled just enough. I wanted to sweep that one, Linda.
Yeah, I know. Some of those overlaps are really important, and you get a bit casual with them.
Even if I go under. I think I like this better.
I like it.
Just with like 10.
Let's go. You got it.
No.
Those little, those words of encouragement. It's always the same.
The draw's
from
doable too, but
Kim Schneider.
you gotta just squeeze past everything and stop suddenly.
Yeah.
So 10.
So where are we going with this one?
This one isn't a picnic either. The amount you have to hit the red one to get the angle to roll into the 4-foot
Got it. Let's go.
and get and outcount the other stone that's in the 4-foot. This is a toughie.
Yeah, it's a thick hit and roll. You have to hit a lot of this, maybe 80% of this rock to roll the desired angle. Otherwise, you're going to go flat underneath and not possibly be in the 4-foot deep enough to get your deuce.
Team Canada has one, looking for a very difficult 2.
Yep. Whoa. Yep.
Now, here they go. Schneider, Kalinchuk. Kim Schneider calling it. Need to jump it over. No. A little too thin. And it'll be a single point for the defending champions here in the 5th. In their opening game, the Scotties, they take a 3-2 lead going to the break.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by M&M Meat Shops. Hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle.
Well, let's bring you up to date on other games in this opening draw of the 2012 Scotties here in Red Deer. And we'll start on She Day, Ontario against Prince Edward Island. PEI getting 2 in the fourth to take the lead. Final stone on the way from Tracy Horgan in her first appearance. She'd been knocking on the door in Ontario for a couple of years. She lost to Krista McCarville in the final in 10. Last year she lost in the semi-final. So she's been around, the former Ontario junior champion 3 times over. And there's that stone frozen at the back. Didn't want to fool with that. That's the draw for the single point. They go to their break, tied 4-4. On sheet B, it's British Columbia and Quebec. BC, Kelly Scott, 2-time Canadian champion. Scored 1 in the first, and then Quebec, Marie-France LaRouche had a blank, and then finally put one on the board in the fourth. And here now in 5, it is Kelly Scott and her team from the Kelowna Curling Club with a chance for 2. And you notice Daleen Silverson holding the brush. They lead 3-1. Now on sheet C, this one has really been throwing stones back and forth at each other. Alberta's Heather Nedwin out of the Saville Sports Centre in Edmonton against Northwest Territories Yukon, and Carrie Galusha from the Yellowknife Curling Club. Alberta opened with 2. Galusha got a lovely 3 in the second. And then Alberta got a deuce, stole 1, and now here, this is another quiet shot. Great brushing here. Shauna Barber, Megan Cormier sit in time. She'll use the backing. That's the 2. And look at this. 5-5 as they go to the break. So now you're up to date. And our featured game, Team Canada gets their single. They have a 3-2 lead trying to defend their championship. It all starts today against Newfoundland and Labrador.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? By Ford, official automotive partner of the Canadian Curling Association. And by World Financial Group, proud to be a sponsor of the Season of Champions. Your dreams, our strategies.
With the mild weather, maybe on Family Day Monday, you visit Heritage Ranch here in Red Deer and take the wagon ride. The horse's name is Diamond. Brian is with Amber Holland.
Amber, you have the lead after 5 here. I want to go back to the fourth then. You had a chance with your final stone to put a little bit of heat on. What happened there?
I didn't throw very good. That's all that happened there. Yeah, just slid a little back, started it a bit, and can't do that on this ice.
Happy with the ice in the rock so far?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, we're just still figuring things out, trying to figure out the paths and where everything's going to break, where things are going to move, where it's not. So it's first draw. That's kind of the way we go with it.
A lot of talk about favorites coming into this. Your Team Canada, I know you told me you believe in this group. How do you feel your team is competing coming into this, and where's your game at?
Well, we're pretty confident coming into here. We have a plan in place. Like I've said a lot of times, this is our playdowns. Our playdowns started today in Red Deer, so we're pretty excited about that. And yeah, we prepared as best we could. So we're here and we're excited.
You're the favorite, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
And Linda, they're the leaders right now, 3-2. Let's check the numbers after 5.
Leading by 1, but when you notice, you'll see the strengths are starting to show up. Heather Strong in her hitting game at 80%, whereas Amber Holland and her team at 86% in the draws. So flipping those close percentages, yes. But you saw Amber Holland's number at 63%. Don't forget, she made her first 6 shots. And in the last 4, she's dropped from 100% to 63. She needs to regain some of her form in order to play out the second half.
The numbers after 5 are brought to you by Tim Hortons. It's time for Tim's. Here at the NMAX Centrium as we pick up play here in 6. Canada leading 3-2. Newfoundland Labrador have the last rock playing the Red Stars.
Well, Amber came in with that first one right where you want it, top of the fourth, a little off the center line. Heather countered with a corner guard as usual. In a good spot off the center line enough that you can use it and not guard the draw path to the button later. Straight into the rings again for Amber Holland's team, and a hit and roll out. There was a really easy double for Stephanie Korab, and she just ticked the one and rolled out. So Amber's going to go on the offense here and go around this corner guard.
We're all there. We're all there. Oh. Good.
Oh, great throw. One of the best come-arounds we've seen. Kept it in front of that tee line. That's the key.
Okay. Just control.
I was a little surprised that Amber did go around the corner. It's not something we often see her do in this position. I'm going to be interested if it's based on a little bit of the curl and how hard it is to get rocks to be exactly the right spot for your draws and your guards. So she opted to just spread the 2 stones out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Playing around corner without hammer, is the kiss of death in a lot of cases. You can give up a lot of big scores when you're. It's a low risk end for Newfoundland. Everything's wide open. She can make her last shot and score, and now she can play around this corner guard situation, which is very favorable for Newfoundland.
But if center guards are hard to position, that may be why Amber went to that particular shot.
And it might be back to what you said, Linda, is the strength for Team Canada is the draw game, and that's what they're going to try to do here.
Go, Kim.
Well, the first call was to roll away, but that actually over curls the shot, and Amber tries to get it to roll a little further in behind her own.
Yeah, she's right.
Control. So we want to get it out there. Yeah.
Jennifer Cunningham waiting for skip Heather Strong to make the decision.
Control. Control. Yep. A little bit. Yep. Yep. Hard. 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 Yep. 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 Hard. 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 Yep. 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 Nice.
Nice brushing to hold it. She gets the 1. Team Canada still sitting a single. Well, class is back in session, and all the students at this school major in drama. Don't miss the return of Degrassi, with back-to-back new episodes Friday at 9 Eastern on Much.
Now, this is part of the reason why Russ and I were chatting about drawing around the opposition corner guard. That one got nestled a little bit up against the other yellow, making it a little bit harder for Amber, and in this case, Kim Schneider, to make this hit.
Get up.
Come across the nose a little bit. Nicely done to sit 2.
Great throw, but as you said, Linda, it allows Newfoundland, with a double here, to open up that corner guard for later.
She did throw the right weight. That got the extra curl and thus didn't rub the second yellow. A lot still can happen over on this side of the sheet.
9. Yep. No. Whoa. Whoa. Off. Off. Close. Whoa. Yep. Go, Jenny. Yep.
Going to get them both?
Very
sure
nice.
will. Laura
Good
Strong.
call, Heather. Well done. Good call.
Now it's back to Amber now. The ball's in her court. Has to hang around here. Beautiful double here, and didn't overthrow it. A lot of the teams will whip those shots trying to get rid of the 80 pounds of granite, but the key was to hang around. Amber has to hit it, and now that's a low-risk end for Newfoundland here. They can get around that corner guard if they get a chance, get a hit and roll out here, and a chance to score their deuce.
Stay on it. Good.
But wouldn't you both agree? I mean, we talk often about the ice and how the conditions are so good now. There are very few flat or unlively houses, so you don't necessarily have to throw it hard because the stones are going to explode off each other.
Good point, and but it happens, especially when you're playing a double, because I think it's a mindset. When the first rock hits the second rock, if you hit it too thick, you want to have some power, some inertia to get that thing out of there. Therefore, you tend to overthrow them, and that was what Laura did so well there, is to control the speed to save that shooter.
There's a straight spot there, right? Yeah. I want the floor.
Yeah.
Trying to sway your wrist up a little bit. Little tiny bit. We psyched ourselves out with that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
I will come up a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
but never enough to make what you called.
Is the hit and roll here, Linda?
Well, Vic, she doesn't really want to take the play towards the corner guard, so
Right,
probably
no,
we'll
for a
just
little
try
heavy
and
swing.
hit it.
No, I think we roll under.
Try to go under.
Okay.
Okay, well,
What kind of weight?
I'm a little
9.5.
surprised at that.
Let's go.
As I said, I thought the plan was, watching the strategy so far, for Amber to just leave rocks in the open and encourage Heather Strong to play hits and hope that Heather didn't make the big rolls.
Yeah, because like you say, if you roll this close to the guard but not buried, it makes it that much easier for Heather to roll underneath the cover.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Yep, whoa, yep, yep. Whoa, whoa.
So there is the hit, and it'll spill out onto the open on the other side. And I mean, is there thought trying to draw the play maybe to force, and in fact, you want that hammer back? Is that her thought process here?
Yeah, I guess she was trying to roll in behind and encourage a draw, which we've seen is not necessarily Heather's strength.
Yeah, and to that point, Linda, because that's rolled as far as it did, because they wanted to take on the hit and roll for Amber, you could really be aggressive here and try to go for your deuce and put one in this spot.
Wait.
Bit of a defensive call here. Again, you only have hammer maybe 5 times in a 10-end game, and this is a great opportunity to score 2. Yes, you'll be forced to 1 if you don't execute properly, but now you can make it this way too by playing that hit and roll.
10, 10, 9.5.
Oh, 9.5. No, no, never. No, 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 no.
This is a bit of unknown territory she's trying to tread. And we'll just hang it on.
Okay.
That's huge to hang on. It's so important. It's such an underrated shot. That rolls out. Amber goes right around that corner guard, and you are forced to a single. This way, Amber has to roll perfect, or you can still blank the end.
9.5.
Want to drop in very quickly on the game between Alberta and Northwest Territories. Yukon tied at 5. That Yellowstone back button, that belongs to Carrie Galusha out of the Yellowknife Curling Club, and the final rock is coming up here from Alberta skip Heather Nedewin out of the Saville Sports Center in Edmonton. Angle raise on her red stone, trying to get the shot rock.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the absolute perfect camera angle right there. If that comes right towards our camera, it's made perfect, and it could be for multiple points here.
This has been a shootout here. Lots of rocks in play. Every and final rock on its way. Angle it back. Oh, and just by. A little kiss on the way back.
Heather did the deadly thing. She asked for more ice, and it actually hung out. And in the house, Beth tried to get a little chip off the other one to try and save it. It was way out there.
And so it'll be the steal of 1 for Carrie Galusha. And a 6-5 lead, the hot shot winner. In our game, exchange of stones on the edge of the 12-foot. We're now looking for the blank. Newfoundland Labrador and Heather Strong.
Go the other way. Way to go across, Jenny. Go across. Go across. Hard, guys. Hard.
Now need to go all the way, all the way, all the way. They weren't able to hold it for her. And it will not spill out. So again, maybe a little inside. Front end couldn't hold it. Newfoundland Labrador forced to take the single. Team Canada will have the last rock back in a 3-3 tie.
That's what you said.
Let's continue with our updates on this opening day, opening draw, the 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts, and Quebec against BC as they play in the 6th. British Columbia leading, you see it there, 3-1. Marie-France LaRouche out of the Etchemin Curling Club, Quebec City, with an entirely new team this year. Brenda Nichols, Amélie Blais, and Anne-Marie Filteau by the guard, and makes the hit for a deuce to tie it at 3-3, going to 7. Meanwhile, on sheet A, Ontario against Prince Edward Island as they play in a 4-4 tie. Kim Dolan looking for the blank here. That's her daughter. Sinead Dolan on the left, Nancy Cameron on the right. Rebecca Jean McPhee is holding the brush. And we'll bang it right on the nose for a single. So not sure if in fact she was playing the take there. She gets the single 5-4. Dolan leads Prince Edward Island ahead of Ontario. Here on this opening day of the beautiful Centrium in Red Deer. Newfoundland Labrador get their single.
6 first? Yep.
Unable to blank. 3-3 during the break. You both suggested, why hang it? It's hanging out there.
Normal.
I guess you would play the blank. Would you play the draw? I don't know. Did you just mess up her blank attempt?
We were actually talking a little bit more about Heather's opportunity to utilize the corner guard that she had played, as opposed to playing the hit and roll to actually draw behind it, where you have a little more control of the exact positioning of the stone. I guess I'm looking at this now, and it feels like Heather is just wanting to keep it close and get a mistake from her opposition. And for a first draw with a rookie front end, they're actually playing quite well.
Yeah, exactly. That seems to be the strategy. You're playing one of the best teams in the world, one of the favorites, and they are keeping it simple, and that is working. And to that point, I thought Amber might force the issue here and throw a corner guard when she has hammer. The first rock that came into play by Stephanie Korab was not in a great position. Top 8, a little bit off the center line. Amber walked up and hit it, and that's kind of playing into Newfoundland's MO here so far.
You can clean it. You can clean now. Whoa. Fine, Pam. Good.
It's interesting to see the different tendencies. When Heather Strong's team gets a chance, they'll play that inside-out turn, as you see here, going away from the center line, and Amber's almost exclusively playing the other turn outside in.
Well, it's one thing we talk about quite a bit, because especially if you're trying to play a role, there's advantages certainly to playing from the inside out. The only problem with it right now is there is big curl to the wings. And at the moment, anyways, Jennifer Cunningham is getting that in turn going. And that means you can see the rollout, the crossing of the stone. So sometimes you need to, as a skip, play both. And if somebody starts to struggle with one, you actually need to be able to make the switch. And the player in the hack has to be comfortable with playing both kinds of philosophies.
Yeah, we're deeper than that. We are coming down a bit.
Team Canada with the last rock playing the Yellowstones, looking for the corner guard.
That's fine. All right.
Tammy Schneider.
Did you get an 80? 88, yeah.
And in she goes.
I got an 82.
Tammy'd like that one back. It was a low-risk opportunity to set up a corner guard, create a miss somewhere along the line with a nose hit or a flash on a corner guard and get your deuce. And now they might have to run the end out again.
Normal.
I have to give full credit to Laura Strong. She had a very difficult struggle in the first few ends, and in the first half of the game was below 50%. She's really brought her numbers up now.
Fifth end, she made a beautiful freeze to take that end away. It was looking very promising for Team Canada, and a nice freeze on a rock at the top of the forefoot. Stopped that two-ender from happening.
Well, so go back then to what you were saying, Linda, about the way this Newfoundland Labrador team is playing. And in fact, skip Heather Strong. Is she, Heather, then more of the manager here, looking at the team, looking at how they may be a little nervous, struggling a little bit, and adjusting her game appropriately?
It could be, Vic. I think they came in with a fairly open style, which is what they do prefer. But you're right. If somebody's struggling, you do have to make some changes with your calls, whether it's on the shot or the weight and turn that you're going to call for the particular shot. And at this point, Heather is happy to be keeping it close, and as I say, try and force a mistake in the last three ends.
Is your second one right?
Assuming Heather's team's the underdog here, you'd rather play a 3-end game or a 2-end game than a 10-end game, and that's exactly what she's accomplished here so far.
Skipping as much as you both have, did you ever ask your teammates to try and make shots that it's not necessarily they can't make, but when their game is off, Linda, did you ask them still to make things?
Well, Vic, it depends on the situation. Sometimes you don't have much choice. Sometimes the opposition isn't giving you a lot of choices, but I think the biggest thing you can do as a skip is manage the team, and that is move the broom, change the weight, change the call, get them so they are into a place where they're making more shots. That's the name of the game.
And Linda made the point at the start, Vic, that Amber, maybe being the veteran that she is, feels that her team wasn't ready to mix it up and get it going either. And let's not forget, this is her first game of the season. In reality, this is their first test. So even though they're the experienced team, they're the favorite on this particular sheet on paper. Maybe she's going to wait till that team, her team, is a little bit more comfortable to go after them.
Nice shot, Kim. Good throw.
Okay, just normal. Just ground.
Yeah. I was normal, too. I wasn't up.
Pardon?
I was normal.
Yeah. Didn't overthrow it.
Okay. I got great weight on Laura, so.
One thing you have to be careful with a team like Amber's, who like to, I think, play more draws. This kind of end, and in particular this kind of game, can get you so that you start to lose a bit of focus. In particular, this stage of the game, you've been out there getting into the 8th end, you're out there for a couple of hours, and you're into a game style you don't really like. Want more rocks in play, playing a team that's probably pretty happy where they are. And sometimes you can get lulled into this game and not have the crisp focus you need to finish it off.
Right to it, right to it. Go, go, go. Yep, right to it. Right to it.
Big curl on that inside out shot, and as we said, not sure why they keep playing that turn. That was about 16 inches of ice there, and it overcurled by 4 or 5. It's almost 2 feet of curl
Just need to get her
with a normal weight hit.
It's disgusting. I can feel like hot air.
Now, if you're going to play those spots that you know swing, and we have camps where we talk about releases, and you can throw a set, which is an inside-out release, and if you're going to play that spot, you have to give it a chance by getting it a little out, if anything. You can't get it started.
The Eastern teams rarely play on a surface like this, so they tend to guard the other way, maybe get it going a little softer, going towards the object rock, and that can bite you early in the Scott Tournament of Hearts here. It's all about that release. That outward motion makes a ton of sense on this type of surface.
Mine's good, right to tees.
This is another nice chance for Amber. She had such a great start, and then I talked about how she has struggled down at 69% right now.
Really
and here's a chance to throw an open draw.
Nice throw, Amber. It's going to help us.
Good throw.
You still finding that, Russ, in terms of club ice in the Maritimes? And the reason I ask it is because the Canadian Curling Association has done such a nice job in trying to bring ice makers for many years from different parts of the country in to work with the best that work at these events, Dave Merklinger included, right? And that they go home then and try to make ice in their respective clubs. For example, those juniors last weekend. The ice moved 4.5, 5, 6 feet, we thought sometimes. Yeah. Even at the Napanee Curling Club, he was able to recreate that. There wasn't a great difference. Are you not finding that it's making its way to the clubs in the East, that the ice is getting better?
Not as much as I'd like to see it, Vic. It's happening a bit, and the CCA did a wonderful thing this year by having a big bonspiel, the biggest bonspiel of the year in an arena in Sackville. Brought in a top ice maker, Canadian ice maker, and we had beautiful surface, what the idea was to prepare whoever was going to win the ladies or men's championship that opportunity to at least get this type of experience. We talk about it all the time. It is different, but for most part, most of the surfaces are incredibly straight, and you learn to throw the rock what I call soft, a little bit of a inside motion. And as Linda just pointed out, that's a deadly combination on this surface.
Final stone here in the 7th. No. And you're right, Linda. Amber Holland may be a little off her game here in this opening draw of the Scotties. Forced to take the 1. Unable to blank. Darn it. These are the Bauer Ponds in Waskesiu Park here in Red Deer. Just a reminder, February the 27th, that's when it all happens, NHL trade deadline, and TSN has you covered with all-day coverage beginning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Every trade, every deal, everywhere you are, Trade Center 2012 on TSN. So Team Canada, missing the opportunity to blank, picks up the single. And so here in 8, Newfoundland, Labrador. You suggest, Linda, maybe playing it close, looking for that one opportunity. Will it be here for the team from St. John's?
3, 2.
Well, it's a nice position for Heather Strong because she has the corner up. The first one of the end is in the house, as Amber wanted, but it is behind the tee line. And so there is some room to work for Heather, depending on, of course, where this guard goes.
Heather is the French immersion teacher for the Regina Catholic School Board.
Whenever you're playing the corner guard game, this shot is the key one of the end. And if you're going to play a hit, remember bringing the second one in as she did, you have to save the shooter. And that's why you see many teams play with the weight, play it quietly, just tap it back, move it around. But however you do it, this red one has to stay in the rings.
Yep.
Stephanie Korab works for Coast 101.
Okay. Who's up?
And the jam at the back leaves Team Canada sitting back 4 and covered.
9.5. Let's go, Tam. You got it.
Tammy'd like to hit about half this 3/4. Obviously not run it straight back on her own, but love to hang around here, maybe behind the corner guard. This spot curls pretty hard. A few of the draws have over-curled here.
Hard. Gotta go. Hard. Hard. Whoa. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Yep, yep, yep.
Look at this. Roll far enough. Not quite. Spins top 8 foot to sit 2 without last rock. Tammy is with Volleyball Saskatchewan.
It's a nice throw. Stone does finish up, just biting the 8 in front of the tee line, but there is a little bit of room now for, as I mentioned, Newfoundland and Labrador. They've got the yellow one behind the tee line they could use as a freeze. They're looking to see how much of the rock in the top 8 they can see after that roll by Tammy.
Tap back.
I can't see roll now.
I'm thinking tap back instead of hit and roll.
Like if we tap it back, we got to move 2 yellows to make that count.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the question was, do you hit the one top 12, top 8, and roll over and free up the corner and maybe leave your rock in front of the other, or do you just tap it a little bit? And the concern by the other team, when she talked to them, was if we only tap it a few inches, there's a concern the red one will never count. But this is really early in the end to be worrying about that.
Exactly. There's lots of time to remove both those rocks. And you threw that corner guard, you want to be able to use it. Just by tapping this enemy rock behind the tee line's an advantage. You do not have to take it out.
No. Other way, Heather. Yep. 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 Steph, your way.
That's good.
Oh,
That's good. That's great.
Oh, that'll do. Okay, good job, Jenny.
That worked out better than they had even dreamt it up. That was supposed to roll inside with an overthrow. That extra weight with these type of rocks is not going to curl, and rolled to a pretty dangerous spot for Amber Holland.
Yeah. You need to hit it a little thinner. Same way, she said. Yep.
And the fact that Amber has to hit this a little more thinly is a great advantage for Heather Strong. If she does hit and roll wide, you may have 2 great opportunities to get into the house, one behind the corner and the other to this yellow.
9-7. Oh, no, never. Okay.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Okay. She threw it good.
We're going to pick on Tammy a little bit here because she just missed.
I didn't get it. It might have been a bit up. But.
Obviously an overthrow, but the idea is to hit the broom. It's difficult to hit the broom when you're not looking at the broom. And it's a habit that some of the curlers have got into, Linda, in nice delivery, and it's just hard to really split the broom when you put your head down to look at the rock like that.
It's something we've talked about. There's research called quiet eye, which is used in many sports, and curling really hasn't gotten to the place where we talk about where the final fixation point of the stair should be.
There again. I mean, Jennifer just does it as well. I mean, is it getting to the hog line too quickly that forces you to look down?
No, I think it's you know you've got that rock in your hand and you want to line the rock up with the broom, and it's a mental thing. I think you want to look down and see how you're doing, see where that rock actually is. But we all know it's like darts. You have to be aiming at that target and allow the body to move through and let a clean release and get it to the target. And I personally think it's a bad habit.
Whatever you do, if you're trying to set up a deuce, you have to find that draw weight, and that last one sliding through gives Kim, in this case, a chance to make this hit.
Yep. Hard! 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 Never up! Hard! Whoa! Hard! Hard!
And there's the roll.
Beautiful shot. Called it just perfect. The skipper got off it once or twice just to get the maximum curl and just grazed by their own rock here.
The roll over may peek out just on the wide side.
Good sweep. That was firm, hey? Was it firm? No. It was 10 only?
It's a very nice shot by Kim. It does leave a little chance if Heather wants to take it to play the freeze, and it looks like that's what she's playing.
Laura works for the John Howard Society.
It was a nice reset by Laura. If you're distracted at all, if you don't feel you have the green light in the hack, then get up and get set again.
Only 73% as a team on draw percentage, but Laura's made the majority of them. She's made some nice shots.
Line's good. Go. Need it now. Four. Hard line now. Hard, guys. Hurry. Hurry.
It's needed to be second shot, and this will be light and an over curl.
Too bad on yours, eh?
Well, Linda, let's take a look at the numbers, particularly for the thirds.
This is the matchup I talked about with Laura Strong having played second in more recent occasions. She needed to keep up with Kim. Overall, Kim with a big advantage. I will give kudos to Laura, though. I mentioned in the first half of the game she was under 50%, and she is creeping back, and she's made a couple of those key shots that Russ talked about. Overall, the numbers are low, but she's definitely recovering in this game. Unfortunately, that last one, that last draw, did come up short.
The player numbers brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet?
A little less, 90. Yep. You got it, let's go. Felt like quite a bit. It's gonna curl quite a bit. I was a little tight.
We're just a 4.
Okay, easy. Look out, guys. Line's fine. Line's
Get
good.
over, curl a bit. We're just a
It'll get
5.
there. Go.
We're 5. Where do you want it?
Right here.
Right
whoa, whoa, sliding. Here, not too deep. Don't set up a pocket. Sit.
No, we're not that deep.
Sit. No, Tammy. Good.
Let it grow.
Good. I was like, oh,
nice.
Talk me through this, because
Wasn't the weight I was afraid of.
I know you haven't got the last drop yet. Team Canada, I'm speaking of. You got one at the back 4. My thought might be to protect, to try and steal. They're trying to force Newfoundland to take the single and get the hammer back. Is that what I'm seeing here?
Exactly. And I think I could argue it either way. The center guard, a tight center guard, would put a lot of pressure on Newfoundland. Unfortunately for Team Canada, the rock their guardings behind the line. So if Newfoundland freezes, they then have an opportunity to score 2. So I think it's a little bit of a lower risk way to force the one. But you're right, Vic. A center guard, a mistake out of Newfoundland, you might steal the all-important 8th end. A 2-point lead would be huge. That's the beautiful part about our sport, is there's always more than one way, and I think a lot of the young players really worry about making a strategy mistake. I think both options were arguably good. It's just what you think will work better at that particular period of time.
And funny, I read something, and I can't remember what it was in prepping for this, the Scotties, but one skip said, further to Russ's point,
Well, she's coming here.
situations may be similar, but no two rocks are ever the same.
No, it is true. Every time you step on the ice, you're facing something new, even though it may be a similar sort of thing. It's always new. And we talk about skips managing shots. I talked about left-handers versus right-handers, and at this point, Laura Strong is getting so much action on that in-turn, that first one over curling. I think I might have approached whatever shot I called with the different turn for Laura, just to shake her out of that. And the second one did exactly the same thing, over curled the spot. It is Amber sitting 3 at the moment.
I don't know.
This seems silly too, but I guess it takes away that.
Yeah. You want to talk to the girls? Come here.
That one's bad back there anyways.
We have yet to be a timeout called. We'll just remind you that the teams have 71 minutes to play their game. They also have two 90-second timeouts.
Well, I don't want to go to here, otherwise she just sunks one in and then. So we were thinking hitting that, but
it's not awful either.
Or this, I guess, is the other.
Well, she's just playing this draw.
I know.
To the freeze,
but if you come in around here, at least you still can get this out if she plays the freeze.
Yeah.
So this is probably okay.
Actually, yeah, you're probably right. Because even if I'm full berry here, even if she plays that, I can blast.
Still blast.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Anywhere she sits, you're going to be able to blast off of it. Yeah, as long as we're on the other side of the center.
You got it.
Yeah.
Nibble of the forefoot.
There again, I came up with two options. Amber's got another one, which she likes even better. You could go top 8 guarding that shot rock, as Vic mentioned earlier, or you could hit the enemy red stone, a little bit dangerous, and roll to the center line. So what they've decided to do is go around that rock at the top of the 8-foot, partially buried in the 4-foot. Chances are Newfoundland will freeze on the shot rock at the back, and Amber's quite confident no matter how good the freeze is, she can peel it out of there and still sit 3.
She is the executive director of the Saskatchewan Curling Association.
Line's pretty good. Where are you? 5. Okay, line's close.
Running.
Running, you got room. 5, 6. Room, going now, yep.
We gotta go now.
Hard line. Hard line. Hard, you got it.
So Kellen Chuck and Tammy Schneider on the brush.
Whoa.
Looking for a little rub, roll off. Just to avoid them being overlapped.
Now that was a brushing error. That one was a tiny bit light when it finished, and they brushed it pretty hard.
Coming across the line for
We need to get on it a little sooner and catch it before the break.
You shouldn't even.
Whoa! Almost.
Did you hear Korab?
What's that?
He said that one was an 8-foot.
Yeah, she's good there.
She's been more excited.
Yeah, this is what you had. I think that's the right ice for that. Yeah. Okay.
Now, it's interesting to my way here again, Linda. You go back to what has let Newfoundland Labrador down is their drawing. They're going to try and draw around those stones in the top edge of the 8. Would you hit and roll over there, or is this the play?
At this stage, Vic, you have to get a rock in the right spot, and hitting is a really tough way to do it. I know that the angle even of this one is hard to play the draw. The way it's curling, it's hard to play the draw, but you have to find a way to get a rock in a spot that's hard for Amber to remove.
Even if it's buried in a second shot, at least it takes some of the risk away. Right now, she's if it stays this way, it's a draw against 3 or 4.
You saw that Heather is the provincial director for the Terry Fox Foundation in Newfoundland, Labrador, and she is tireless when it comes to the foundation.
My arms are shaking.
Great throw.
Cross face.
9. I like 9.
Yeah.
Here?
That's good.
Nice attempt at the freeze, but just under-curled a little wee bit, and that allows Amber to not only remove it, but roll dead buried here.
You have to feel a little sorry for Heather after watching so many over curls.
Yeah.
She has one that doesn't quite get to the spot. And I mentioned the rookie front end are also a little unsure about the judgment of the stones on this arena ice. It's causing them a few problems.
Whoa! No!
Final stone of the end for Team Canada and Amber Holland. Newfoundland Labrador does have the last rock. And she'll make it go away to sit 2 for sure. Looks like it's sitting 3. That's what Newfoundland Labrador and Heather Strong will face with her last. Now, the roaring you've been hearing is because of this. The Red Deer crowd, of course, cheering on Alberta and Heather Nedwin from Edmonton. But those yellow stones, Carrie Galusha, coming off that Ford Hot Shots win, has been terrific. She is sitting 3, and that is what is facing Heather Nedwin with her last.
Those skips coming through a port that was just big enough for a stone to get through, and the final one, of course, by Carrie Galusha, means this is a tough, wide draw for Heather.
Line's going to be fine. It's all yours.
Beth Iskew calling line. Laney Peters, Jessica Mayer, on the brush. This is a big drag now. Huge brush, big drag, and there it is for the single. A draw against 3 to tie it. As we look at the final stone for Newfoundland Labrador's Heather Strong. This is facing 3.
They were trying to rub there, Vic, because it was heavy.
It'll rub off and go through, and the big mistake for Newfoundland and Labrador will come here in 8. Steal of 3. Team Canada leads at 7-3. Well, it's time now for the M&M Meat Shop's Final End Challenge. Right after the game, we'd like you to go to www.finalend.ca and enter the secret word for a chance to win a trip for 2 to the 2013 World Junior Curling Championships in Sochi, Russia, where the 2014 Olympic Winter Games will be. The first 100 entries will have a chance to win a $50 M&M gift card, and all participants will get an M&M discount. That's right after the game. Go to finalend.ca when we give you the secret word, and who knows, it just may be trestle. Well, maybe.
But wait and see.
We'll wait and see. Big mistake by Newfoundland Labrador results in a steal of 3. Team Canada, the defending champions, now up 7-3 as we go to the 9th. And Newfoundland Labrador will have the last rock playing the Red Stones.
Well done. Thanks.
And was the miss the key shot?
Well, Vic, actually earlier in the 8th end was the key shot. This is Newfoundland and Labrador moving stones around, getting things set up, looking for their deuce, and it's up to Kim Schneider in this very key matchup at third not to jam. If she jams the red stone onto her own, well, it's a great thing for Heather Strong to use her corner guard and really set something up. This is beautifully played. This is not an easy shot to stick in the house after just getting out the red. And for the rest of the end, Laura Strong couldn't counter at that third position.
The key shot brought to you by Scotties Facial Tissue, stylish designs for any room.
Sorry, Steph.
It's funny, too, Linda, we talked in the break before, after the 7th and before the steal of 3 in the 8th, that this is a massive game for Team Canada. They did have a bad year. We've all talked about the fact that they've sloughed that off and said, look, our season starts today. But they had to be thinking, how are we going to perform in our first real test, our first important game of the season? And they played okay. They haven't played great. And if they lost this game, I think they'd be going, well, is this just a bad year? But looks like they could pull this thing off now, and then they're going to come out with a lot of confidence in game 2 and look out the rest of the field.
One of the intangibles in any sport is momentum. And I think the first day tells us such a story, no matter what team we start to talk about. You can tell someone like Amber, and last year, think about the momentum she got, the role they got on, and the confidence that she got as a last rock thrower because of it, and how that led to a silver medal at the World Championship. On the other side, as you said, for any of these teams, if you start with a loss, then the next game, if it's close and maybe you have another loss, it feels like you're just climbing uphill. You're not really in the event until you can get a W. We talk as coaches about performing, and you can't control the outcome, but you sure want that win.
Yeah, that it's only one loss, and there's 10 more games to go, but it just doesn't feel like that. And, Newfoundland went stride for stride here for 7 ends, and just a bit of an overthrow. And that's that common mistake by Heather, or not by Heather, by anybody, that you're throwing to that perceived backing. And she threw raw weight with her first one because the rock was at the back 4. all of a sudden the rock was on the button and you knew you could move it, and you just have that mindset that I can be a hair heavy as opposed to light, and that's exactly what happened.
Whoa, whoa. Clean, fine, clean, fine. That's fine, Tom. Good throw. Good.
Well, we're nearing the end of this opening draw of the Scotties. And so updating you, PEI, a blank in 9. They continue to lead there. Quebec, BC tied 5-5. Quebec got into it with a couple. This has been a terrific game. 6-6, Alberta and Northwest Territories, Yukon. And of course, in our featured game here, Team Canada breaks it open on that steal of 3 to lead 7-3 playing the 9th.
Sit. Good judging.
The one thing you have to do if you're Jennifer Cunningham and the rest of this Newfoundland and Labrador team, if the score holds, is you do have to find the positives. We talk about the rookie front end, and Stephanie Korab right now is curling 96%. That's terrific to walk onto the ice and post those sorts of numbers. She's staying with Heather Kalinchuk on Team Canada. And lots of good things have happened to hold this game moving into 8 at a very close score. So you have to take those positives on to the next game.
Nice double by Kim. She had a good, strong game. As Linda pointed out last time, made that soft hit and roll behind the corner guard that started the downfall for Newfoundland, and another double here to stop a potential deuce.
Around it, Debbie. No, it's like a 3. 3. Go then. Hey, no, we need it. No. We got to get in the house, though.
I mentioned that this front end is struggling a little bit with the speed and trying to get the judgment figured out. What I like about what they do is they call it out. And one of the things I say is you've got to take that chance, make the guess that you're trying to decide on the weight. If you don't say anything, you're not going to learn. And you may feel a little foolish that you call out that it's a 5, which is top 8, and stop short. But at least you're getting that feel faster with the judgment of the weight.
Yeah, we both taught a lot of clinics, and a lot of the young players don't want to make that commitment. They don't want to yell out. They're afraid they're going to make a mistake. Well, they're really making a mistake by not saying anything.
Hard. Good. Great
Another
shot.
nice angle by Kim. The guard's now far enough over, it's of 0 consequence.
Just a 2.
And good for Kim. She's really stepped it up. And Amber is playing all right, but this is definitely not Amber's best game we've ever seen. And Kim is the one making the big shots. And that's what teams are all about. Somebody struggles a little bit. Well, in this case, the third can make a huge difference by setting up the big shots.
And to, after such a sluggish start to the season, to win your opening game in Scott Tournament Hearts without Amber Holland, of all people, on firing on all 4 cylinders, that's a great momentum boost for Team Canada.
Very environmentally conscious. Just a 4-cylinder car that you're driving.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you could have picked 6 or 8 cylinders.
Could have, eh?
Yeah.
Electric.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. With her battery at half charge or something like that.
Yeah. Let's go, Pete.
Amber stuck on a blank 2 ends ago going this direction with the out turn over the other side, but she'd love to make this one.
This is nice for Amber to sort of get a chance to just peel one out, but she doesn't get the shooter to roll that far.
Just getting across the top of those. And then I'm yelling yes out of my hand.
Oh, I didn't hear you.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, yes. I said yes 4 times.
Isn't it interesting, too, that as an experienced curler, in the case of Amber Holland, you know what you're doing wrong, and yet in the middle of a game, it is so difficult to make a change.
For sure.
Want to drop in on sheet A, and it is Prince Edward Island leading and sitting 4. And that's what's facing Ontario and Tracy Horgan from Sudbury. Horgan, in her first appearance, she won the Ontario Championship, beating the defending Ontario winner, Rachel Holman, 7-6 in their provincial championship. As you can see, Amanda Gates and Jenna Engie have backed right off as Horgan will slip to the back edge, and it is a steal of 1 for Prince Edward Island, and Kim Dolan up 6-4 as they go to the 10th.
13-8 out there now. Okay. Are you going right to it? Yeah. Corner, just want to stay a little bit on the angle. Okay.
Great throw. That's sunk right in behind the corner. And again, this is Amber throwing her out turn, being right-handed against Heather's in turn, which will usually curl a little more. Most in turns curl more than out turns. So this is tough to get to the face of this rock.
13-8 still here, or is it a little keener? 13-9. Yeah. Yeah. Let's go.
See if we can get the finish with this, with that out turn. More rotation.
Line will be fine. No, tons of room. We're good. Weight's fine. No, it needs to move a lot. Needs to move. You're not to it at all. Yeah, go now. Yep. Whoa, over there. Over there. Yep. Go, Tammy. Go.
Very nice.
Oh, gee whiz, you know, they waited for the longest time. I mean, if you listen to Kim most of the way down, you're not even there. You're not even there.
I knew line would get there if I didn't overthrow it. I said I knew line would get there if I didn't overthrow it.
About 3/4 of the curl happens post hog line. The break is extremely late as the rock is dying. As Russ already told you, this is the stones that is causing this.
Yep. And you have to believe it, don't you? And in Kim, fairness to Kim, like at the hog line, it's like, when is this going to curl? So you start thinking it's heavy because it hasn't curled. But that's where that communication we talk about all the time. If the front end's giving you the right numbers, you, in Kim's situation, she will then have the confidence to know it will finish. Beautiful throw.
Final stone.
No curl yet. T-line. Not curling. Not curling. Not curling. Good. It must be T-line though, no? It's good.
Good job, guys.
Job.
Very nice.
Beauty.
Very nice. Heather Strong will put it on the pin for the single point here in the 9th. Amber Holland and the defending champions will have the lead. They'll also have the last rock coming home on this opening day, opening draw.
The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Scotties, proud supporter of women's curling for over 30 years. The 2012 Scotties Tournament of Hearts is brought to you by Ford, official automotive partner of the Canadian Curling Association. By M&M Meat Shops, hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle. And by Tim Hortons' new lattes made with premium espresso.
Well, it's time now for the M&M Meat Shops Final End Challenge, and the secret word is draw. So right after the game, go to finalend.ca and enter that secret word for a chance to win a trip for 2 to see the 2013 World Junior Curling Championship in Sochi, Russia. We are at the NMAX Centrium, part of Westerner Park here in Red Deer. Final end. Newfoundland Labrador got their single 7-4. Team Canada very much in control as they pitch the first one through. No need to put any rocks in play. You're up by 3, looking to run Newfoundland Labrador out of stones.
That's good. That's the 2-3.
That feels like a lot to me there. 3. No, it's coming down. 3-4. 4. Ooh. Ooh. Stop. 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 Please stop. Please stop. Please stop.
Everybody's sucky.
Not quite. So just biting the top 12. Let's go over to Sheet C. This has been a terrific game. And there's a yellow stone. That's the shot rock. Back forward. Well, just in front of the tee line, I guess. And Carrie Galusha from Yellowknife has a wonderful opportunity here, Linda, to pick up 2 big points. A 2-point lead with Alberta then having the last rock coming home.
Heather Netherwin made the nice freeze trying to cut down those circles, and it is pretty tiny. Just the button left for Carrie.
Whoa! Yep! Whoa! Over curling. Whoa!
And it'll go through, so it's a single point
Like I slid
for the team from Yellowknife. And so Alberta and Heather Netherwin out of Edmonton will have the last rock. Down by 1, coming home. Jennifer Cunningham.
See, looks sticky here. Sticky. Go then. Make it good. Yep. Line's nice. Right now. Yeah.
Good sweeping, you guys. Nice.
In the 4-foot line. I don't know. Nice shot, Jen.
Going on for sure.
Thanks.
On Sheet B, Quebec and BC in a 5-5 tie. And you can see Quebec 1, 2, 3 sitting 4 against the former 2-time Canadian champion Kelly Scott from Kelowna. Marie-France LaRouche out of Quebec City.
It wasn't that bad, Heather. Well, I know. I just see it.
Hits for the single. We told you this is an entirely new team for the Quebec champion LaRouche. And one of the benefits, Linda, she said, is that all the players live now in the greater Quebec City area. They're all able to train together. And so Quebec will have the last rock, down by 1, playing the 10th.
That does make a big difference. We see a lot of teams now trying to mix and match to come up with the magic combination, in particular working towards the Olympics. Everybody wanted to getting into those curling trials, but it makes a huge difference if you do live in the same community and can get out and practice on a regular basis.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And a lot of the teams, they play so much on weekends now that they don't think that's as important. But I think if the skipper is holding the broom for the rest of the team in practice, you can learn so much about the idiosyncrasies, the different releases, the different speeds, the different rotations. It's such a fine game now. You have to know exactly what your team members are doing. So the more you can be together, the better.
Good job, Dan. Good shots. Just kind of move this guard around. Yeah.
So in the fly path right from the start, so just be careful.
I'm sure the one thing that will be taken out of this game is the knowledge of ice by this front end. You can hear Laura and Heather every time there's something that happens about the speed or curl, just reminding them. And Laura, in this case, saying it's the slide path is going to come early. That's going to change the speed. Be careful. And these are things you have to learn with experience.
Beauty. Sharp. Good job, Laura. Let's go, man.
Kim Schneider.
Clean. Yep. Clean. Clean in.
And time is slowly running out here for Newfoundland and Labrador.
Okay.
I think they can take some positives out of it too, Vic. Even if they don't come back in this game, they they played an awfully good team here, and it's only one game.
7. 7. Good. Okay, yep.
We're going to the same spot. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Good.
I mean,
So a chance to end it here for the defending champions to pick up an opening draw win.
Clean.
And it'll be left to Kim Schneider, given that opportunity here with her last
Nice throw, Cam.
She's played a nice game, Linda. And there it is. And Team Canada, the defending champions, Amber Holland out of the Chrono Curling Club, will open with a win, make the final 7-4 over Newfoundland and Labrador's Heather Strong. So, let's take a look now at the game story. It's brought to you by M&M Meat Shops. Hundreds of meal ideas, one aisle.
Two big differences in this game. First of all, Team Canada with the great draw weight. That's how they got their first deuce. And then Heather Strong didn't have draw weight in 8, and that's how the steal happened. The second big difference is the thirds. Kim Schneider, a wonderful game at 88%, and a big edge in the matchup at third.
So, Team Canada picks up their opening draw win. We're going to slide right next door here at the Centrium in Red Deer and pick up the final end. Alberta against the Northwest Territories, Yukon.
Hard.
Northwest Territories, Kerry Galusha picked up that single, had that wonderful opportunity, albeit a draw to bite the button for 2. Was heavy, picked up the single, and now leads 7-6 over this lady, Heather Nedwin, the Alberta champions out of the Saville Sports Centre in Edmonton. And Nedwin does have the last rock, down by 1, and playing the Red Stones.
I think we've talked in strategy clinics about this situation more than any other, really, and that's when you're down 1 with the last rock, and how hard it is for the team that has the 1-point advantage to maintain the advantage, even to carry it to an extra end. And already in this end, you see that Alberta is drawing to sit 3. They just need the 2 for the win.
Easy, easy, lady. Whoa, lady. Set. Now.
And maybe a mistake in brushing as it slips to the back and through.
It's my shot, right? It is. Take it off.
That inside-out shot in an arena ice is just amazing. It fools everybody, and that could be the mistake that could cost them the game. Yes, they're still sitting 2, but that would have been awfully nice to put that in the paint somewhere.
So we told you earlier the teams are given 71 minutes plus 2 90-second timeouts.
Timeout.
And so Northwest Territories, Yukon, and Kerry Galusha will call on their coach,
I'm just not sure what
Fred
we're
Cooey.
trying to
Kerry's
accomplish
dad
anymore.
has been with her as long as we've seen Kerry on the ice.
I like the run back.
You want to give up 2, you run that. The park's no good.
Or else we just draw around and go for the steal now.
We're set up for 2 right now.
Yeah.
Don't move that bar.
What if we just peel it open and then what?
I just like the straight run back. Because you
Yeah,
hit the
but
inside.
what if we don't? So
What if we don't make
if
that?
we miss it, then it's okay. You're fine.
Yeah,
It's
that's
fine.
Then you're going to have
Then we don't
something
have.
open.
We don't ever have anything
At least it
to.
gets it in a better position, though, to then
Well,
draw
and
to
then
force
they'll
the
split
steal.
that one, and then what do I'm looking at 3, and then what?
They might give you a double.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll need 2 doubles.
Yeah, we each doubles.
The other
That one
shot,
is in a
then,
tricky spot.
Freeze to that one.
You see the Alberta
Yeah, that's
coach
what we're doing.
there too, Daryl Horn, talking with
Terribly, but
Heather Nedwin.
14 is good. They're not this way. Yeah. Fine. Good to know. Okay. Go make them good, girls. Okay.
What time we'd be guarding for right on the, yeah, I don't mind
Daryl
it.
Horn, of course, goes back to
9.5.
Heather's time playing with Kathy King, and he's been a long-time coach in Alberta.
This is a point at the end where you really do have to make a big decision. At this point, the other team is sitting 2, and you're giving up the loss. If you're Kerry Galusha, that means that yellow guard can be pivotal. Either it's pivotal because you can keep it, and you can use it by drawing around it, or you can play the run back. The danger of the run back is if you just peel it out. They talked about that. If we peel it out, what we can do, but it really can save you. It's the pivot point of the whole end.
I would go as far as to say if you miss this run back, you probably lose the game because you now don't have this rock you're removing here. Could be your savior. You can go right around this and steal a point, and game on now.
That's still okay.
Sharon Cormier Misses the run back.
No.
Yeah.
No. Just go back
No,
to where
no.
we went with
I don't like
Joseph.
that.
She can hit and roll. She's got this all day.
Yeah? Yeah, I don't like the guard.
You girls like this?
I don't know.
And I like this.
Okay.
Like 9, 10. Split them open.
Oh, I don't know, Heather.
Why?
What if
Well,
we
maybe you should
Christmas
come
tree?
down and check, because this is a very big point
Yep.
at the end.
I think I like that better.
You can come here.
Yep, or even a 4.
Yep. Okay.
But keep it half open. We got to keep it open then. Or, well. Okay, do we know where we're putting this then?
Oh, yes.
Okay, just wait. We're not quite sure yet what we're thinking.
I like that.
Call timeout.
Smart move. You wanted to rush it, and you have to be in control of your emotions. It's a big game. You're the home team favorite here. You've got the whole crowd cheering for you. You can rush this through.
But it's not.
I do like the split. Do you guys like the split?
Split just looks,
Well, if
do you like?
If you go straight back, that's good. She's got to get to us. Straight back. What has she got? She has to come to us. I don't want her to do this. Takes the whole into it. You push that here, that's good. You push that there.
What do you like, Daryl?
Yeah, it's straight. I like the straight back. What do you like better? Well, straight back. Anywhere. You got this is...
Straight back to the half we don't want to do is knock this one back to the side there, right? So if you're going to hit this, on that side.
I like that, Beth. Okay, let's do it.
So I'm throwing like clean.
8, 9. 8, 9. I like that. I'll take care of it.
So what am I throwing?
They talked about throwing a guard, which isn't
14?
wrong. They talked about playing the split, which isn't wrong. And now they've even decided maybe even if the split isn't quite made properly and they tap it straight back, that's not wrong either. It's just what do you want to leave your opponent? And I think the danger that Heather's pointed out is this rock right here. If they leave that where it is now, it allows Galusha to hit and roll buried behind the corner guards and a chance to eliminate the 2 rocks that are in the rings.
And that red one just going out, of course, is another part of the story. If that had been in, maybe even T-line, that would have made a difference to the call. So a lot has happened so far. They're going to try and tap this and not leave a chance for a double and roll. That's the one thing you don't want to do.
FSQ.
They missed the tap here. You don't want to set up a double. Put it in the right spot.
Okay, that's fine.
They would have swept that another foot or so, Linda. There is a double here now.
It's a pretty nice angle that they've left.
Yeah. If you can hit it right now, if you can not only make the double, but if you hit half of the second rock and roll up a bit, you'll roll buried. If you hit the double and stick it, you'll be out in the open. Big shot here. Not a lot of ice here for this turn. You have to hit about an inch of this rock to make it properly. Half a rock here will go right across the top and miss the double. Yikes.
Curl.
Finish.
Oh.
Doesn't quite get it out.
It'll stop back edge. Oh, maybe. Spoke too soon. That last little spin. Let's go over quickly live. PEI Ontario. PEI with the 6-4 lead after that steal of 1 in the 9th. Final stone here for the Ontario skip, Tracy Horgan, out of the Idlewild Golf and Country Club in Sudbury. Bang and sit. And is it 1 or 2? It is. They're going to put a stick to it. They're going to put a measure to it to see if, in fact, it is 2. We'll go back as soon as we know. Beth Iskew will hit it right on the beat. Sit 1. Alberta needing 1 to tie, 2 to win this opening draw.
I mean, we know the spot. It'll run and then go. Just make sure you catch the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're basically back to that same situation. A hit and roll by Carrie Galusha here can really eliminate that rock at the back 12.
Yeah. We know the spot. It'll go and then run, and then it'll curl. Yeah. Run and then curl.
If you wanted anybody to throw this shot, Linda, right now, it would be Carrie Galusha.
The hot shot. She did so well earlier.
Now here's the measure. We know Ontario has 1. Ontario Redstone. PEI is yellow. One more time around. The official tightening it up just a little bit. Meanwhile, this is Carrie Galusha and her first. From one to the other. And help us out, Mr. Official.
Close. No.
Red it is. Ontario will get the deuce to tie. They're going to go one more there. Oh, and the roll. What a brilliant roll by Carrie Galusha.
Great shot, Carrie.
Good call, Sharon. Good thing I underthrew that.
Just an absolutely perfectly thrown rock. Didn't overthrow it. Gave it to the brushers. Off on. Dead buried. Nice shot.
We talk about the fact that Carrie and the team from the north don't get a chance to compete as much because of the cost to get out of the territories and travel to Bonspiels. One thing, though, she does have the great release for this arena ice. That's one thing she's really developed over the years. Big rotation, and that was a very late break. I think it scared them a little, actually, that it wasn't going to break, but it does, and got the perfect roll.
Linda, she was saying that even to go to her, what in effect was their provincials, the airfare was $1,000. They tried to go to 2 or 3 stops on the tour this year, come south as it were, to play. Upwards of $20,000. It's extremely expensive for the teams from the far north.
Whoa! No, we're wide. We have a long way to go. Let it work.
Heather Nedewin.
Go deep then. Yeah, stay with it. Yep. Whoa. Stay for shot. Okay.
And it will just barely stay for shot.
Yeah. That hung out more than it. Yeah. It ran.
And one other thing about arenas you have to remember, there's been a game leave beside you and you get a different airflow pattern. You might get a little bit different curl. So she expected that to break sooner.
2 feet lighter. Okay. That's a perfect line, actually. It's just a hair deep.
I mean, even if I roll big, I mean, she can play that or drop her one. Yeah.
Almost dead buried, though. It's a very long guard. If you throw the appropriate weight here, it's not that tough a shot, but it's talking yourself into throwing it soft enough. If you ever graze by the guard really tight, you might hit your own and miss the back red one. So this is not a gimme.
Just back line. We don't, I mean, we just have to move it like 2 feet.
Okay.
Does that look good to you for ice, for back line?
Yeah.
Or do you think it'll run a little bit? It should curl the whole way, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go, guys. Yeah. 10. Whoa then.
9, 10. Yep. Whoa.
Final stone for the skip from Yellowknife.
It's like way back line.
No, nothing.
It's really got to finish here.
Going to catch enough? Catch anything. Oh, just enough to push it out and back. And so
11 and a half. Wow. 9,
needing
10,
2 to win. Needing 1 to tie. What do you risk here? There are those stones out in front, Russ. Is there something there for the win?
Mathematically, there is. There's a run back on that red corner guard. See what they say. The draw for one is a simple shot.
I don't like playing it.
Do you like it?
Are you serious?
It's jet on the nose.
Do you know it?
Yeah. It's running straight. You can back.
Well, even if you don't hold those two at the back, 12 come into play, right, Linda? Those are the two. Those are your winning stones. That's what you're thinking about, right?
Well, the problem is, Vic, if you count on those, this is fairly long run back, and the angle is difficult. Spilling it out is actually just as tough as sticking it, based on where that stone is.
We've got so many options, Beth.
Yeah, but we could jam it on here.
No, we won't. We'll nose it and nail it. I promise you. Right here. Normal weight.
Okay, you defer here. Beth is not sure. You defer. We defer to the skipper. She wants to play.
Well, that's great that she has that much confidence, and that's why Heather Netherland's been one of the best players in the world. The bad news is this is a really tough shot, and if you miss it, the other three are going to kind of go, why'd we try that shot? It could set your week up in one direction or the other here, Linda. This is a tough shot, and I think what you have to do in these situations is, yes, defer to the thrower, because it's all about Heather executing this, but it's probably less than 50% you can make this shot.
It's a long distance. The yellow guard isn't really in the way, but it kind of sticks in your eye in the hack. Terry's rock is in behind it, yes, but this is tough, and this is where you have to make a judgment. And I think what Beth was thinking is, they've had some mistakes from the opposition. You might take your chances in the extra.
What are your odds in the extra end to steal? What are your odds to make this shot? That's the decision here.
So final stone. Right now, it is a win for the Northwest Territories Yukon. Heather Netherland said she knew it. Said she knew it. She promised her team she could make it. And she will get the single. Not quite keeping her province, but she'll get the single, and they will go one more.
What a great try. Any more curl. Just a couple licks of the broom too much, and that rock's made. Great try.
This is, Linda, what Beth Iskew said. We're jamming it all day.
Just needed to curl.
But the raised rock settles in the 4-foot for one. Checking in on Quebec and BC. You can see that that red stone covering the pin belongs to Quebec, so they have their tying point. Final rock now. Long angle raise to maybe get that yellow stone off the back of the button. This is Marie-France LaRouche. And she'll drive it by. Second chance she really had at it, Linda. She tried one earlier and missed. And so they'll go to an extra as well. BC and Kelly Scott from Kelowna will have the last rock there. Going to an extra end as well on sheet A. There, 6-6. Prince Edward Island, Kim Dolan has the hammer. So 3 of the 4 games in this opening draw of the 2012 Scotties here in Red Deer going to extra ends. Our featured game is over. We started with Team Canada. They win 7-4. The defending champions, Amber Holland, winners over Heather Strong from Newfoundland and Labrador. Throwing the lead stones for the Alberta champions.
Easy.
Out of the Saville Sports Center, this is Lainey Peters.
Don't touch it. 93.
Whoa.
Don't touch it.
2. Whoa. Don't touch. 2 for sure.
I'm a little nervous about this one. This is a hard guard to place. You get the first one nice and tight to the house. You want this one a long way out in front, dead in front of the other one if you can. And they said right away this one was going to slide close.
Go.
And just a reminder, Sports Center comes your way immediately following our coverage.
Yeah, I think we need to.
Yeah, top 4. No deeper.
This is a more common play than it used to be. You try the tick with your first shot, and if you make it, you try the tick with your second shot. And the theory being now, if both ticks are made perfectly, you can peel out and have a wide open hit to win the game. By missing this tick, territories are saying, well, wait a minute. I'm not going to get rid of both of them here now. Let's play the offensive shot. Come around as long as you're in front of the tee line here. It's a shot that's very valuable for your team.
Guys, wide open, way out. Whoa.
It's here.
Stop.
Sit, rock.
Okay.
Not good. Not good at all.
That's an ouch. Probably the worst place you could put it, right behind the button. Gives Heather lots of room to get in there, and she can even play the freeze if she wants.
Line's tight. Yep. Line only. Okay, whoa. Woo. So, sorry. Whoa. 6.
We might have to go, Lainey.
Stay close.
I think we gotta go, Lainey.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. Whoa.
Do you think?
Stay with it. Yeah.
I do, yeah.
Go. To the base. To the base.
Go.
Right to
Go,
the base.
Lainey, go.
Nice.
The Nova Scotia connection on the front end. Of course, Lainey Peters and Beth Askew both representing Nova Scotia at previous Scotties.
I thought Lainey and Beth did a wonderful job there. They could have panicked Heather's screen for a line, and they said, wait a minute, the speed's already there. The line should be fine, and they handled that beautifully, put it in a great spot.
Hard. Go, Sharon. Hard.
Oh, very nice. Got the double peel, rolled the shooter away.
I'll point out another Eastern protege there, and Wendy Miller. She's from New Brunswick originally.
So now the challenge is to put the guard back for Alberta, and we talked about with this ice and the way it breaks, and potentially with a little bit of a change on the sheet, perhaps in the curl, it's not easy to put these guards in the right spot.
3. Whoa, then. Whoa.
Can you just cover just up front?
Whoa.
Keeping a brush down, that's great. Even if it's the outside brusher, make sure there's no debris that gets underneath this important stone.
Jess.
Good, Jess.
What do you guys think?
You know what Carrie's thinking? You'd love to get rid of the 2 rocks in the 4-foot.
It's there too, Linda. You obviously don't want to miss wide, but I think I'd take a shot at it. If you miss narrow, you run the guard out of the way. But that will go, and you can get both red and yellow out of play.
Heel.
Might be your best chance.
Yeah. How much can you see? Okay. You get the top, that's fine.
Yeah, we're this, right?
This team from Yellowknife does play a 5-person rotation, and so Megan Cormier sits, and Wendy Miller throwing the lead stones.
Now that was a big push.
No, we have nothing.
The one thing that you have to do as a player, and I know it's so difficult, you're in this big game and you want so much to make the shot, but you have to throw within your capabilities, and if you only throw control weight normally, you can throw a little bit of an arm extension to get a bit more weight, but that shot can be made with a variety of weights. Remembering what he had to do was get them out of the 4-foot. Even if it stuck in the back 8, it wasn't so bad.
Well, plus if you're going to miss, you got to miss the other way. You reckon the guard, you get a good chance. Now it's going to be double guarded and frozen, and this is a tough situation for Carrie Galusha here. Really tough to get in there. It's the button's available on the intern side, but it's not simple.
I'm over there. I think it's lots, guys.
Yeah.
Just over.
It's over.
Get over, curl. Whoa. Right off.
Whoa.
Sit.
Whoa.
16-8.
That's a nice shot. Heel, Sharon.
I'd like to get them both here. 3/4, just on the out-turn side, away from center line.
Whoa. Yeah. Whoa. No. Okay, good throw. Good.
Can I have a little more? You were here. I give you more.
Okay.
Out to it.
Okay, so even less. Wait.
Carrie's got to be thinking about that pinhole that's available on the one side, because this is going to be tough. Alberta's doing a very nice job of placing the guards.
Carrie threw the exact same shot for a draw for 2 in the 7th, I believe it was, and she missed it heavy. So that's probably the shot she's going to be left with here, unless there's a double peel made.
Off. It's right up. No.
Lainey. Sit.
Nicely done.
Sit.
Nice shot.
Okay, good sit.
A bit of an angle now, chance to get them both.
Nicely done.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Okay. Hey, Sharon.
Sharon Cormier.
Hard. Right up.
Okay.
They're just leaving everything out in front.
Yeah, that's the worst possible option. It started with the rock at the back of the button, which helped Alberta. Then the flash by Wendy Miller, which helped Alberta, and that definitely helped Alberta. 2 guards already and a chance to cap off this in-turn draw.
You threw your first one so good.
Yeah. Pretty slick. A little more?
You can go more.
Okay.
I don't know. Just a 2. 2?
Okay.
What do you think over here?
I think we thinking 20?
Yeah.
25?
Let's go, Hooch.
2 guys. What are we?
Where?
We're 2.
Okay, whoa.
Whoa.
It's gonna over curl.
Whoa, Jess.
Oh, it's coming down.
Get it over.
No.
Get it over.
Just over.
This one's going
Just
sideways.
over. Whoa.
Just over.
I don't think that's going to do very much.
No, wasted rock there.
Man, that-
Chance to
I
get to
don't know,
the
it
inside
died.
here on the intern.
Well, we have 3 games, of course, in extras, and the first one that's going to come to an end here is on sheet A. Stone, back of the button. That belongs to Ontario and Tracy Horgan from Sudbury. She does have it guarded, but can you get in there with the draw? That's what Prince Edward Island and Kim Dolan will try to do now to pick up a win here in this opening draw. Final rock on the way for the team from Charlottetown.
This is a game that Tracy Horgan, the skip for Ontario, has really held the team in. She made a draw on 2 that cut it down from 4 to 2.
Gotta curl a bit.
Kim has the chance, has to hit the pin pretty well.
The line looks great.
Rebecca Jean McDonald is holding the brush. Sinead Dolan, Nancy Cameron. No bounce. Got to get there, though. Got to come to it. Got to come to it. And it'll rub and roll off too far. And Ontario, Tracy Horgan, will steal a win here in her Scotties debut. Make the final 7-6.
Good luck. Thank you. Thank you. Hurry. Right up. Come on, girls. Right up.
Hard, guys. Hard.
Oh, shit. Shoot. Sorry.
No, I need to throw it better.
Yep. Okay.
Not perfect. Carrie might have been remembering the one I mentioned earlier where she had to draw for 2 and came deep. And that kind of impedes her progress for her next shot here.
It makes it really tough. The brushers couldn't do a lot at first either because it was hanging out on the corner guard. Didn't break until very late.
Think a hair less, Beth.
Do you think there's a chance if this is capped off, is there a chance for Carrie Glusha to play the out turn with soft weight and get to the nose of that shot rock? There might be room there with a perfectly thrown rock.
There might be. Guards are relatively long that are really blocking it.
How much?
Stay with it.
How much?
It's got to move.
3, 2, 3.
Okay, well, let it work.
It's to curl a long way here.
Gotta move a lot.
Hard.
to block that angle raise.
Oh, no, is the hole still there?
2 missed guards by Heather here, and there is a chance.
2 different rocks, eh?
Yeah, good throw. What kind? 9-5?
So Carrie Galusha will have a chance. And there, Kevin Cooey,
Okay, we have to, like,
Alberta champion, former Canadian world champion, acknowledging the crowd. And, of course, winning last weekend the Alberta Championship with a win over Brock Virtue. So Cooey and his team will be at the Tim Hortons Brier. It begins 2 weeks today in Saskatoon.
Let's throw a 10. Yeah. Or else we just, I don't
Lila, a
think we
bit
can
shy, his daughter.
We have to throw weight at it. Is that enough? I think so,
I think so, yeah.
It's just a 10?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, let's go, Carrie.
And so now
Okay, guys.
brother
we can
gets
shot
a
here.
chance
That's a
to
10. Yeah.
watch sister.
You can't really overthrow it. You have to, like, dead stick it.
I know what weight he'd be throwing on this one. And this would be probably right up his alley. But the danger with the shot, obviously angle's there, but you either have to stick it with your yellow one or you have to pick that red one out. You have to hit it really thin in this area here. So it's all about that angle.
You got it.
It's a little off center, might pick that red right out of there. Possibly a blank end.
Final stone for Carrie Galusha in a 7-7 tie. Called off now through the hole. Yes, now maybe a few late strokes. Has she got this? Oh, she spins it far enough. Jams it far enough. Carrie Galusha wins it. Brothers happy. It runs in the Cooey family. As this ricochets, bang, 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 and moves far enough for the win. Make the final 8-7 as the team from Yellowknife with an early upset of the Alberta champions and Heather Nedowin.
Yeah, it's this. Yeah.
So now one game remains.
Almost be like a quarter.
Quebec got the single in 10 to tie 6-6.
Tricky.
And Quebec is sitting 3
We're there, yeah.
as Kelly Scott decides what to do.
Okay, we'll try back 4.
We've been looking around at all these extra end games. This was an interesting one to start. Kelly Scott got the ticks from her lead and opened up the front. But on the peels later, they jammed rocks onto the rocks that had been ticked into the side 12-foot. That spun to the back 4, and that's the rock that's really going to cause Kelly some problems as she throws her last.
It's a new-look team somewhat for British Columbia and Scott. Her longtime third, Gina Schrader, is not playing this year. She is currently pregnant, maternity leave, I guess. And so she has Sasha Carter playing third, but it is Daleen Silverstone who is holding the brush with Carter and Jackie Armstrong on the front end.
So easy to overthrow this, Vic. You have to get to the inside here. It almost has to be a straight draw, much more than draw weight. It will not curl here.
Nothing at all from the front end. Go, go, go. Roll it in. Oh, that is the shot that we expect from the two-time Canadian champion, Kelly Scott.
Thank you. Good game.
And for Marie-France LaRouche, Red Deer. Her best memory, of course, was losing the final in 2004 to Colleen Jones. And here she sees the former champion get that inside roll to pick up the win. So this opening draw is done here at the Centrium, and we'll be back with you again tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. Two of the teams that had this afternoon off, the opening draw of this year's Scotties. It'll be the Saskatchewan champions, Michelle Englot, first appearance in 2008, against Nova Scotia's Heather Smith-Dacey, last year finishing third in Charlottetown.
Just kept getting better last year, Scotties. I remember Mark saying to me, we have to make sure we get you back here next year. Like, that's our, number one job, is to do everything we can to get you out of the province again so we can put you back on this stage, because you guys showed what you were made of.
We're just all very loose, and there's no one who gets uptight, and we take it one game at a time. And I notice, like with this team, that even if we get down a few points early, there's no give up.
The defending champions, lots of questions. Did they answer some of them with this win? 7-4 over Newfoundland and Labrador. Amber Holland off to a winning start. But the big surprise has to be Carrie Galusha. What a day for her. Hot shot win, and then wins over the host province, Alberta. Till we talk with you again this evening, thank you for joining us. The Scotties Tournament of Hearts on Canada's sports leader, TSN. Sports Center is next.